Okay, it's Saturday the 20th.
You're gonna live it as well?
Do you want me to go live? Well, yeah, okay, I can try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try that as well.
I think it would be safe.
Well, we're recording now anyway. It's 17 minutes past 9 in Greece, 17 minutes past 7 in the UK, and 17 minutes past 6 p.m. in New Zealand, and it's Saturday, 25th of June. So I'll just go live on Facebook with it. While we're at it.
Oh, I don't know how to get back to my. Oh, there it is. Oh, there, I'm back again.
Okay.
I thought I'd lost my video with you.
No worries.
Alfred should be coming in soon.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we're going live now.
So the sound is good, eh?
Yeah, you know it's crystal clear. There's no breaking up yet.
Yeah, I've got the broadband hardwire fiber optic.
Fiber. How many meg is that?
So, hey, I got my own.
The speed. What's the speed? What speed do they say that you get?
75. It was 75 band bits per minute or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's see how it goes. This is not the computer that Gregory got me. It's the other one that I bought myself. But Greg's one is going good as well. I've got it back here, and it's got a bigger picture on that one. The one that he gave me over there. You can see it in the camera.
Well, I've shared it on your timeline as well, John.
Yeah.
Shared it on your timeline as well. So we're live now on Facebook now. Okay. All right then. Okay. Do you want me to bring up the share the screen on the web, the page we pulled up? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to sit on this one.
Right.
Sit on here. Oh, you got your table. Here's a chair here. Here's a chair here. You sit on that one. Put it over there.
Oh, is that where it's there? Okay.
It's over there.
Okay, yeah.
Just sit
Okay,
on.
I thought it was over there because.
No, I'm reading
good,
from
good.
here.
That's good.
And there, I was going to read there.
That's good. Are we on?
Yeah, we are.
We're all on.
Yeah, I have to leave it in about just 2.5 hours. Yeah. So I'm not sure how long this is scheduled for.
Yeah, I'm trying to skip through it as much as I can.
Because I've got to get up to the base and do some get things. I've got to get things scanned and put onto a thing because that's why I've got two computers. No one's bothered to help me to set it up on Wi-Fi. You know, that's why I keep going up there.
Yeah, well, we're all good to go.
I'll just go and get my laptop.
Okay.
We're all good to go. We're live on Facebook, so let's yeah, we should start then. Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, we're all good to go, John.
Okay, thank you everybody for being here and people who might come in later on and people listening. Tonight we're trying to skip through a lot of the things I want to talk about. I've highlighted them in yellow. You'll see it on your laptop or your mobile phone, what I'm talking about, and you can read it at your own time. What we see here is our title to God's Earth planet. If the Vatican can better that, and the Moai, they're using the Moai for their titles, and this one here, the 3 sunspots, that's what we're going on, and the one in Pakistan at midnight, and 6 a.m. in the morning and 6 afternoon p.m. and midday on East Island. So that's a legal instrument that we use for the Vatican and the Queen and their royal families and everybody involved to see if they can better this title that they've got a stolen moai. So we'll base all our legal instruments and authority on that and King William IV's flag as those two seals. That seal there you see there on our documents, and I've given the documents over to the to Gregory Cook to follow in with the sheriffs and their organization, the Home Guard organization, to carry out the writ warrants according to these seals on the documents. And they've got other seals, the King William IV's crown and anchor seal and his crown on the 8-point star as well. So you've got about 8 seals to go with the documents and authenticate them and give us authority to use this right in front of the British Crown, which I see have a problem with us having 2 moai claims. And they've got the stolen moai, we've got the real moai that we're using for our documents from now on in the court cases. So that's the main part of our start from this. I'll just run through briefly a few things here on the overview of what we want to talk about tonight. We are acting online Congress delegates to Moai Crown. That's 1. 2, sheriffs, writ warrants, orders. These are just things that I want to talk about from the King's Bench Court. 3, the organisation as a New Zealand group. 4, organisation, sheriffs, not marshals. This time we've got a 200-page.
What happened to the other chair?
Marshal, eh?
Did he take it?
Yeah. Marshal writ warrant that you see online. Andy will show it a bit later, but we won't go to that. We'll go through this court hearing first. That's it there. There's over 200 pages of a writ warrant just for Cook Street, gone through the High Court in London under the Admiralty, but I had no to pay for the court case, and so it's just sat there. We've got no limitation on our documents. We can pull them up anytime and make a new case instead of going back to the old case, but we still use the information from that writ warrant that I gave to the marshals, the UN marshals that were under contract to do this job with Gavin Marsharts and John Munga. They ended up in prison under that one. So we won't do that again on that system again. We'll just beef it up and do it again. 4th, 5, we use the writ warrant template for Cook Street and insert the sheriff's contract to do the same job again. 6, no contract with Maori. This is a Moai Crown contract to Britain, UK. 7, Maori have to settle their contracts with Queen Elizabeth II under Te Ture Whenua Acts. And so that's, we don't have Te Ture Whenua Acts in our Moai Crown King's Bench Court. There's no Te Ture Whenua Acts in there. It's just straight back to King William III, 1689 to 1702, King George IV, 1820 to 1830, King William IV, 1830 to 1837. Those acts of parliament were used in these documents and nothing else. 8, Moai Crown has no Te Ture Whenua Act 94 in its documents. 9, prorogation when New Zealand government has lockdown and does not cooperate their business with public consultation is forbidden, stops legislation. That's what the government is doing. They're going ahead in lockdown periods to do what they want without public consultation. 10, the Confederation corporate companies, Moai Crown and Ngā Atue Wāote Limited, are at war with the Crown Queen Elizabeth II corporate business here in New Zealand. So we're at war with this flag because that's what it was meant for, to stop pirates getting in the road between us here in New Zealand and Britain. In the first instance, the contract. 11, last writ warrant against the corrupted Cook Street landowners and Lynn's land conveyance lawyers I told the proprietors of Cook Street they have to get their money back from their lawyers, Hornibrook and MacDonald, Andrew MacDonald lawyers. That's where the problem is with the lawyers conveyancing instruments that are fraudulent in the land transfer. 12, we have too much legal information against any named man, woman who gets in the legal path of the Confederation Online Organization. As you can see, the photos of all those who are committing fraud and corruption of legislature, legal system of Queen's Bench courts corrupted, as in Cook Street cover-up by the police. 13, we have no limitation act applied in our legal system of 1689 to 1702, 1820 to 1830, 1830 to 1837 King's
Hey,
laws.
can you roll that up?
Hey,
Can you roll that up?
roll which up?
Oh,
No, that's Andy's. Here's mine here.
Oh, I thought you did. No, it's all right.
No.
That's okay.
And
Okay.
Andy's rolling it. I'll be going in a minute. I'll just say these ones
I
here.
was just writing it down and
Yeah.
I saw it roll up.
No,
Okay.
it's on
okay.
it's
I
on
can see it.
it's
I'm
on your laptop. If you
Yeah.
went go to the
Yeah.
website and get it.
Yeah, but I got no
Huh? Oh, you can't get on. Well,
Yeah.
the Auckland City Council and Ngāti Whātua Ōrākei cannot produce a title to the land who they purchased it off legitimately. So since 2011, they have no challenge to the Manukau land titles of Auckland, Kaipara and Waikato regions. 15, draft up writ warrants so other native countries can follow us, do it too, especially Canada and Australia and Britain, Ireland. Those people can follow us, what we're doing in these court hearings, and when we get across the line first. 16, Harvey Kinemato, Joseph Harvey Kinemato from Canada, Jesse Hal from Canada, they might be listening as well, and Helder Fairfax from Canada. Those are three that have been following me through and me following them all along. 18, Frank McElron, Manchester, England. 19, Andrew Little Gordon from Scotland. 20, Kevin Blackburn from England. 21, Sean Maguire, Ireland. Rebecca from Ireland. And 22, we have 8 on the executive committee now to take us forward and liquidate, foreclose and bankrupt the businesses of pirates backdated to when the offence started in 2008 on Cook Street with Mahi Manukau. 24, the affidavits over and over again. So the 25, the Navy is obligated to let us go ahead with them to recover all the debts. So that's how I can go on to the documents. I'll skip over these from A through B through C straight to D and on to the court hearing of the latest. So I'll try and be as fast as I can. You can follow that one there.
Yes, no, it's okay. That's right.
It's a pity. I should have hooked you up to my one
No,
week there.
no, I'm all right. I'm all right.
Queen's Bench Division, and this is the High Court of Justice, this letter that the documents that went to the Queen's Bench Division, Admiralty Court Roll Building, 7 Fetter Lane, London, claims of my son Ra, law of truth. So that's a bit of information about that. I've just said enough of that. And it's against the Pope Francis and Queen Elizabeth II titles to God's earth planet creation that you, Cabal, World Economic Forum, EU, NATO, and the US must refute and prove that to have a perfected title to God's heaven and earth. So the enemy that we're up against records of 112 pages for 12 June 2022 hearings. This is it here, this lot here. So this was just skip over the A section and B section is included and go to C. So that was the first on the 9th of June court hearings, and go to D and court hearings today. So I'll skip past all of this. You can open those threads up and read them when you've got time. I have jurisdiction over this court flag of King William IV and its Admiral of the Fleet, legal land bank law instruments. I had the legal Admiral law of the Sea, Admiral of the Fleet as Lord High Admiral John Hoani Kagi, Wanoa, New Zealand, UK. Why I say that is that President Biden is claiming himself to be a Lord High Admiral President. So I'm doing the same thing as him, add a bit more documents to it.
I just want to say that Biden cannot, because Washington DC is under Vice Admiral.
Yeah.
Not under British Admiral. It's
Yes.
under British Vice Admiral.
Yeah. So that
he can't.
yeah.
He can't.
So this is why we're going over the top of his jurisdiction.
Exactly.
And put our own flag jurisdiction, and the Navy Admiral of the Fleet, Michael Boyce. So here we go. And maritime law of the land, the birth of your birth certificate, birthing you on the wharf as spiritual Moai earth god jurisdiction. That's what the Pope is doing with your birth certificates, birthing and all that sort of thing. We're going across them with this. On the Moai is doing that to them. Marae established native magistrate King's Bench Court. That's what we're doing online. Ruler over New Zealand, Britain, UK, America, and the world. As president of the Confederation of Chiefs of Aotearoa, New Zealand, Pacific Islands, Ring of Fire area, and Island of Mu. What we're doing is we're claiming the Pacific Islands region before the US government claims it for themselves illegally from us. We were there before them. So we'll skip over this. Magistrate Court is open. This native King's Bench Magistrate Court is now open for commercial contract business for the world, and the King's Common Law people enforce these native land acts. So now we open the court and go through, and I'll skip over that one. It's just that you can read those yellow bits in your own time. King William IV, Admiral of the Fleet, Supreme Authority of UK, New Zealand First Party and commercial contract with 13 second party and 35 third party Confederation of Chiefs. So we're going under those chiefs, those first lot of chiefs on this contract to the Admiral of the Fleet.
We're talking about the 13 chiefs?
The 13 chiefs. The 25 chiefs afterwards in that order. So we're going 13 chiefs with the letter first.
Yes, that's right.
In that order.
13, 25 to 34 is the order.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Lord High Admiral, Surrogate King William III, King George IV, King William IV, private contract partners on these documents. So I'm taking that title over anybody else who's doing things with the flag. And I'm assuming that this government is using that flag for their business and creating war. So we'll go past this other yellow one, this one, and this next lot. You'll see. Oh, here. Hey?
Whereabouts on this are we going to? You know,
I'm still up on the
Section C.
Not yet. I'm still back. Hang on. I'll just read this a little bit, then I'll jump where you are. British Royal Navy, Admiral of the Fleet, Michael Cecil Boyce, Lord Boyce, KG, CCB, OBE, DR Michael Cecil Boyce, legal partner to the President of Legal Inheritance to the British Crown and New Zealand Crown, prized possessions and wealth of Crown Trust contracts of the native Hapu Confederation of Chiefs of Aotearoa, New Zealand, financial stake claims over the four corners of the world in 250 countries under Hapu Moai Crown Corporation's commercial 1834 contract flag sovereign business entity. So I'll just skip through all this lot now and just move on through and catch you up where you are. I don't have to read these, but I've made them highlighted so that you can read them. Section skip C and C included. I'll go past. I'm on page 6. I'm skipping through now to page. You're on page 40. This is a declaration of. I'll be there in a minute.
Okay.
Of the declaration of financial bank war contract flag. I'll be with you in a second. I'm just scrolling through. I'm just scrolling through now, and catch up with you there. I'm just looking out for yellow bits on the way through.
I'll follow you. I thought you said skip through and go to C. Sorry, I'll come back to.
Yeah, I'm just on page. I'm on page 10 at the moment. I'm just rolling through.
Okay.
I'm just rolling through with all the names. of the people in yellow
Okay,
that were identified already in the last court hearings.
Yeah.
Right up to page 75 is we've been through all this. So
Yeah.
I'm just highlighted them for people to see the people we have identified.
Yeah.
I'm on page 12 now. All these people in yellow that have been identified as pirates in the high seas, they're the ones we're going after one by one. So I'm 14. I've got to go Black Rock and Mortimer, Vanguard, past there, 15, all that. Those are in the 9th of June court hearings. And then we come down to Maungatautari Mountain. That one will come up with that one at the end of when we start the court hearing on those people we're going up against. So we're going to skip through that. And our note, we're on 19. I'll just roll through 19. Keep rolling. Yeah, keep rolling past 21. These are all everything that leads up to the court hearing from before. I put these all in so they join up. We put these into tonight's court hearing before we take action on this next hearing that we're about to do. The original name of that's the Waikato King Tawhiao's area that we're going through there, but it'll come up at the end when we get on D. I'm on page 30 now, still rolling through. So I'll roll a bit faster. All those parts I've highlighted right up till we get to, I'll try and find the D now. I'll go straight to D, past all of this.
Go straight to D, yeah?
Yeah, straight to D now. I don't know which page you're on. Oh, we go to court list. We go to page, hang on. Where did I put? That's on. The barn past them. We should be on 70, I think.
Page 7.
Those are the last court hearings on the 9th, joined up to these court hearings tonight. So I'm just making it methodical to keep in line with what we're doing to start with, and a lot of information that's backing up against these people that we're already charged already. Where am I? Hang on. 73. The court is now closed on that date. Feedback, that's 73 on the 9th of June. Now we're on D now. Section C is included we're on page 73. The court is now closed and section C is included in the hearing tonight through, though it is on the 26th of May 2022 Native Magistrate King's Bench Court hearing video affidavit as one affidavit in its entirety, 7 hours 22 minutes video proof of claim. The evidence is unrefuted as one document from section A, 9th of June 2022, joined up to this section D tonight as one document per video session, and the documents of what we've just been through now is included. Section D includes section A, B, C as one affidavit in this next court hearing for today, Saturday, 25th of June, of these named criminal fraudsters in the court list below here. And I won't say this over and over, but this is versus these people that we have highlighted in yellow. So Ngā Atua Iwa Aotea Limited, the New Zealand Registered Company, and Maui Crown King William IV Trust, bank principal judgment creditors. And these names of the people here I've got as the jury and the legal authority to enforce these acts and orders from this court and using the flag and our authority to Britain, UK, Westminster. That's me, John Wanoa, Gregory Cook, Hone Mason, Blair Ingram, Manahi Mohini, Papa Hehe, Alfred Mitchell, Alfred James Mitchell, Tanya Ramika, and Kate Baker. So I've just chosen them because they're following through and following what I'm saying what to do and how to do it. So until others pick up how to do things, that goes for Oriana and Kathleen. So those two are picking up all the information and digesting it as much as they can, will end up somewhere in the mix of things to do. So versus, I'll just say the jury instead of saying all the names and all. I'll say the jury of these people here versus Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand, charge you from this court for COVID, genocide, murder, treason, spreading misinformation about the jab is safe when it's not safe, killing people, as you are a threat against New Zealand people in the country, mass extermination of innocent children lives, now calling this an act of war against our country and people you threaten. So she's a real threat. We have to do something about her.
As well as premeditated murder.
Yeah.
To their contact.
Yeah. So these are very serious matters that we're taking on board in our own hands. We're taking the law in our own hands on our own land to remove them from the land that they're standing on without proof they've got a title or any information that can match up to this lot. There she is behind, that's where she should be, behind bars with all this information about what she is and what she's doing against us for their own private corporations. 4,000 confirmed injuries, 1,009% confirmed and 1,000 yet to be investigated. So there's a lot of people dying because of her and her organization, the WEF, World Economic Forum, and all the meetings she having at our expense here and the chief's expense, going around the world in America and Europe and organizing against us, a threat against our country and the people without the people knowing what they're up to. I'm telling you what they're up to. They're up to no good as a threat against the national sovereignty and the national security of New Zealand and the people of the world as well. This is the spearhead behind taking over the New World Order and these young people that are there under orders from the WEF to do what they're told to do. And we're here to take them away from the land that they're operating on and shut their business and foreclose and bankrupt them with these documents. Over 200 pages of documents for writ warrants to go under and throw the book at them that way. So now that's the BlackRock and Vanguard that she's involved with. We've seen videos. There's a video here, one of those clips. You can open up and see her walking out of BlackRock, making deals with BlackRock against us here and using our money from the land, taxes and everything collected from the land to mastermind their own plan against us. So here we'll go skip over this next lot because those are just information to add to her injuries against the people. Now, to where are the jury versus Cindy Kero, Governor General, New Zealand, charge you in this court for treason, conspired to defraud New Zealanders, treason against the people of New Zealand and country, and why are you wearing the St. Patrick 8-point star on our Confederation of Chief flag of Admiralty law jurisdiction to pick up the rent leases of our land for your New Zealand Crown Corporation must end. So we're saying that 8-point star that she's wearing and all the monarchs on the Queen's side are wearing is an offense and against us. And it's abhorrent for her in front of us, the chiefs, to be wearing that 8-point star to pick up the rent off the land. That's what it is, the Municipalities Act of councils to administer the business for the Crown Corporation to tax you and collect the rent and leases and fines.
And the intent to exterminate the chiefs.
Yeah, So there,
Sovereign chiefs.
yeah, so that's why she's wearing it. She has no authority on our watch to be wearing that 8-point star of King William III and St. Patrick put those municipalities act together for us and our King's Court bench to collect rent for ourselves, not for this bunch of thugs and pirates. So we got the jury versus Nanaia Mahuta, MT Foreign Minister, New Zealand charged. They're all charged with the same charges that we're saying treason goes right across the whole lot of them. Fraud and conflict of interest with Tainui Waikato Council Region New Zealand and conspired to defraud New Zealanders of the Paramount Chief Te Waikato Wharehere Manukau and his Punga Punga Hapu people and their Punga Punga Marae and his ancestral Maungatautari mountain pass site in Arapuni, Cambridge, New Zealand. So she's got a lot to answer for. We're going to put her on the spot like this, and her photo will never go away. It'll always stay there forever into the future as a thug and a pirate operating a fraud, corrupted business on our lands. And one of the native people of this land going against the Hapu and everybody else living here. So she's got this and these trillion-pound notes on her head. The jury versus King Tohaitia, and there's a photo of him there, and he's the same charges as Nanaia Mahuta, conspiring to defraud the people of New Zealand with whakapapa that doesn't match up to the Manukau title and other titles on the land. And Alfred's going to sort that lot out with him, with these writ warrants and the Home Guard that'll get onto that. So we've got the jury versus Chris Farfoy. He's run away. See, they're running away. And these thugs are running away. Once they've done the damage, they run away out of the country back to where he comes from in Samoa or somewhere else. They put them, they shift them around. We're going after him. Don't matter, just like John Key ran away because the Panama Papers got him in trouble and he had to give up being a prime minister because of the bank fraud on Cook Street at the same time, that time that he was a prime minister, doing the same damage as this thug. And we'll go after him and put £1 trillion on their heads each, and the Crown can pay the difference and bankrupt him and any businesses that he has, so that he has foreclosure on everything he does from this writ warrant, this over 200-page writ warrant. I forgot how many pages there are, Andy, something like 200 and something altogether. Trevor Mallard versus the jury versus Trevor Mallard. He's another thug that's run away. They're retiring and getting out of it when the damage is done. They created all the damage. And we've got the jury versus Natalie Flower Brown. I'm putting her up again because that's a serious charge of the police and disrepute to the police force, what she did with the documents and forged the documents to arrest me and the other UN marshals, the Maori marshals, with illegal documents. I can point that out on another Zoom. I can make Zoom live videos myself to cover all that, what she did in this next comment after that one there. No, the next one after that one, where she's where it says Wanoa on the document, you'll see she wrote that on the document with my name in capitals. So that she did that herself. There, that one. That policewoman, she's not a lawyer. A lawyer's supposed to do these writ warrants, these arrest warrants, and she forged this when she confiscated my shirt with King William on it and the seals on it and the monarch's coat of arms on it. She took the shirt away and kept it for over 8 months as evidence against me in a court hearing. I'm using this and my shirt as evidence against her and the whole police force, and put £1 trillion on each of the police force, and there, that's cashing in on them and their wrongdoings this way. We're going after them for every penny they've got and strip them. So that's that document of proof. So we've got the jury versus John Key, embezzlement of Panama Papers, fraud and corruption of the legal system, threat against the people of New Zealand, flag sabotage. He spent 13 million just to try and change the flag and make another flag, and it flopped. All that money wasted on a flag. The jury versus Aaron Pascoe, he was the guy that got me off Cook Street, and he's the guy that led the raids on Tuhoe at the time. So he did two things wrong, that raid and against me on Cook Street. So he's up for £1 trillion on his head. And the jury versus Tim Duffy, another policeman that laughed at me about what I was doing on Cook Street and called it a big joke, and all the things he had nailed up against me. So I've taken these photos from the videos that I made of them right in their face. So that's him. The jury versus Doug Rickard Bell. This was 2008 when this guy here on Cook Street bought the land, then couldn't do anything with it because I told him you're going to lose the land. So he put it in the auction again, and for 38 million, what he paid for it, it's worth 80 million. The Chinese were prepared to pay 80 million for that Cook Street property, and this guy bought it for 38 million and sold it for 38 million just to get it off his back when I got on his back. So he's in with £1 trillion on his head. And so we go down to the jury versus Philip Taylor. This is our mate Philip Taylor that ran away from me, and know to who. You know that one, Andy. There's him there. He come from Rotorua and up to Auckland, and so he was being nice to me, but not really. He was up against everything I was doing and corrupted the police force. That guy. The jury versus they've got to prove what I'm saying is not true. They won't say nothing. The jury versus Chris Hipkins, the Minister of Health, 2021, Minister of Police, 2022, COVID, genocide, murder, and treason. So he's the same as with Jacinda Ardern, although Jacinda Ardern's got more on her head. I haven't put a figure on these, but I just drop £1 trillion on their head. The jury versus Ashley Bloomfield, Health, General, COVID, genocide, murder, treason, the same charge again for them and what they're doing to the people and killing them. After 2 years, they'll be dropping dead like flies. The jury versus Andrew Little. So these are all the health people that were in this whole genocide thing, right over and over, and spreading information, and people coerced them into taking it, the death jab. A writ of execution, control, and repossession. I'm on 85 now, of stolen land. So those of that will go into the section 2, writs and warrants, UK government. So that's a lot of information how writs work. And I've taken all that from all these documents. At the time, I did those 200 and so pages of a writ warrant. That's how long that is. So we'll skip through this lot and up to the sheriff one on page 90. This here, if you think of somebody who is plotting, creating fraud, you just fill out this form, and I get them given to the to Greg Cook for the Home Guard, and so he can dish these out to people. They can take it off the website because I'll have it there for anybody in the world to use to pot in anybody who's breaking the laws, and we can put them straight on the stand in their country once they know what to do. Or here, the sooner our people, anybody that knows how this works, and may name them and put their photos up for the whole world to see and witness in this court. We're allowed to do that under this court. And so you fill that out and the details. I've got it on the website, but I've got to fix it up. I had it going, and so I've got to slowly get around to that and fix it up. So we go past this next one where all these people was the TPPA. That's page 91. That time of Helen Clark. I put all these people together and charged them all with the TPPA, and that guy in the middle, Jerry Mataprai, he's the ambassador in England that's making out that he's pushing the issue as being the Maoris here in government and the Maori him in England, to push the Queen's authority through, with one Maori there and the other ones in the government here doing the damage against the people of New Zealand. So there, that's the head of everything, that ex-Governor General. So it's the Governor Generals who sell the land. He's one of the thugs, and his name is Andrews, not Mataprai. That's his real name, Andrews, surname. So you've got all these people changing their names around and being something else against the people. Case for Saturday, 25th of June, 92 now, at 6 p.m. 7. Dr. Anthony Fauci, 10th of June 2022. YouTube. That's Dr. Fauci. We're on to that next. We'll go carry on. The jury versus Anthony Fauci, convicted today in the Native King's Bench Magistrate Court hearing as the creator of the pandemic and virus to exterminate the human race, found guilty under these acts contained inside these 80 pages of factual evidence and video affidavits charges the same every one named pirate operating scam fraud corporate business in the high seas of King William II, especially III, and King William IV Admiralty law, maritime law. So they're using the Admiralty law and maritime law to do all this damage against the people. So we're going to use the Admiralty to go against them. So we've got the jury versus Rangihuna, and there's information about her and her 3 waters for their own corporate private business and government. And so we've got information there and videos on that. And then we come down to next is the jury versus King Tuhatia, and more information about him there, going down through, and this is to do with the Manukau native customary land title transferred to British UK King George IV Crown over New Zealand country as one title, and Memorial Rock on Manatotiri 3A5J Section 3 Pohara Station, and trustees named here to challenge their title to Punga Punga Hapu Marae, traditional history of Paramount Chief Te Waikato Wharehere Manukau and his Hapu Punga Punga Marae desecrated by the iwi Maori government pirates. So there we go down to the jury versus the active administrators of that trust, where that rock is on that land I just identified, and I get the certificate of title for that. But their names are down here for trial in this court hearing tonight. Kara Tim Taiapa, Mansley and Romaki Johnson, Tihi Matangi, Toro Ted Ta o Tao, Taute Noma Noho Mai Tara Whiti. Responsible trustees. So the trustees are the ones we're going after in their business to put the bill on their heads, £1 trillion each. That's it. That's the rule of thumb. And the crown, their crown, can pay the king's crown for the difference of what they have, and they are stripped and foreclosed on and bankrupted for following the Queen's fraudulent laws against us. They're going hard out now without us in this prorogation, the word that Gregory Cook wanted me to put into the document. So you'll see it there someplace. Prorogation is when the government is acting without the consultation with the people, the public of New Zealand, and especially in lockdown. They go ahead and they desecrate the judiciary system and go over the top of it. That's what they're doing with the Inconsistencies and Amendments Act, to go over the top of the Crown itself from Parliament sovereignty. So we're going up against the Parliament sovereignty, which is controlling the people of any country. And so this is what we do with them, their sovereignty and the King's sovereignty of the Hapu and the flag sovereignty. Contracts, that's the main thing, contracts. Just like the video with the Navy saying they're obligated to that flag contract with the British there. So that's it. So we come up to the whakapapa. We're on page 98, I'll just briefly go past this one. This is the whakapapa that Alfred put together of Robert Ormsby and Mahuta and Te Atarangi Kahu Whakamari Paki. So there is where King Tuheiting and where Alfred has gone down one side of Mahanga against Tuheitia, and on the other side. So Alfred can go and sort that lot out with them. I'm just saying that Alfred has more right to the whenua than Tuheitia at the moment under his whakapapa. So that's just for the incorporations to sort out on the land issues, because they'll be in charge of the land as far as.
Well, it's the fact that in 1995 they ceded sovereignty to the New Zealand Crown, so they've and as far as all their land, so that they don't have any claim to the land whatsoever. It needs to be noted.
Yeah, so this is on the record, on
Yeah.
this court hearing record tonight, that they're on notice now to answer to us, the jury. And we have a jury. We'll get to a magic figure of 13 on a jury yet. And we're just picking them out so that they're learning. Everybody has to learn all over again how to do a King's Bench court hearing and how to do it legally and properly. So you've got the jury versus the jury with the British Crown land title of Ututonga land title to the land of Bay of Islands Paihia. So I've got to go back to the East Coast, Alfred, because I've forgot one more bag and it's got those stock and I went to look for it in these bags. And I've got to travel back there to pick it up soon anyway, so I can put those back together on the next hearing. So we do have the original title to the whole Bay of Islands area, here and the whole right around with one house on it, the Ututonga. So that's a big history that Hoepa Epiha and has already gone through all of that with me. And so he covers that. He's another one of the Kaumatua's elders that watching what we're doing here before he comes on. We have Manahi Mohini and Papa Hehe already on the Zoom hearing the last one. And so they'll be listening with what we do with this hearing and any action we're going to take from now on. They want to see some action, so this is how we do it. So we've got these people that we're up against, the jury versus with those documents of Ututonga land to challenge them, the Te Ti Limited Partnership, that's a company, and Te Ti number 2 Limited Company, that's another one, and Te Ti GP Limited. And these people who are the trustees, Marsha Glenn Davis, George Frederick Riley, Fati Ramika, Widamu Leslie Tane, Abe John Happy, Jane Elizabeth Sherd. So those people are responsible from there up against this writ warrant that's coming out over their heads. Any trustee in a way is enemy of a King's Bench court now, identifying them to come clean with their title and their authority, where they got the land from in the first place. And their Queen's Crown is up against our King's Crown now. Waitangi National Marae, Greg McManus, he's the head CEO of the whole shebang up at Waitangi. He's on the block now with £1 trillion on his head. And so he's the main man up there that's got this coming to him now. So that's the end of those people. I think I said those trustees on.
Well, it must be noted for the record that he has no jurisdiction over the land. Yeah. His jurisdiction is in the instrument.
Yeah.
In the paper instrument.
Yeah. So their instruments against all our instruments, all these ones. Yeah. So they've got a problem to prove that. Now against what I'm saying. I'm saying these statements are real, and so it's out in the public now. They have to refute it or do something about it. And now that it's going worldwide, and people are learning how to do things against these people. We're saying, I've just flicked back to the Waikato one again. Hang on.
What page is that, John?
Hey, hang on. I'm just going back over this trustees of the Tainui side of things. I think it might be at the end. Oh, it's coming up at the end of it. Yeah. I've got, and now I'll go past. Yep. Now I'll carry on. I just wanted
Page
to
one,
see
John.
if I named those companies. I'll just carry on from where I was. Hang on. I'll just skim over. I'll just carry on going down. Where did I get stuck up there? Yeah. Sure, we got past the sure. I went back to try and find the other documents of Tainui, and I might have put them at the end. Got Nanaya. Into HM. I just wanted to double check. Oh, I think I've said these ones, these administrators, Waikato administrators. Yeah, these are the Tainui administrators. I think I said their name. I'll say their name again. I'm on page 95, Mangatotri, the block section. I think I might have skipped over the names. The trustees of this company back here. The Tainui companies anyway, the trustees, Kara Tim Taiapa, Mansley Ann, Romati Johnson, Tihi Matangi, Taurua Tid Tau Tau, and Tote Norma Nohom Mai Tawhiti. I think I said them before. I thought I might have missed them out. But they've got their land blocks and their companies in there as well. Kiriroa Limited. Okay, here we are. I'm on page 96. I'm on page. Yeah, I'm just on page 96 now. The jury versus Te Ha or Te Whenua Kiriroa Limited. These are the companies we're going after. Rawiri Alexander Bidois, CEO, Crown Agent Judgment Getter. Sim A1B Brantford Road, RD3 Hamilton 3283 New Zealand. So he's the main man behind this Maungatautari Mountain and this Punga Punga Marae takeover and annihilation of their hapu, the Punga Punga hapu, Tahu Punga Punga hapu. And Mason is after that one. He'll look after that one because he's very familiar with that land down there. What's his name? Mason. I forgot his first name now. But he's with Blair Ingram, Hone Mason. He's going to look into that one and follow it up. And he's very good at Maori. He'll be another one going to England and can speak as a tohunga for the Maori side of the history and all our taonga missing and all that. So he's dead up against King Tuhetia and what they have done to that, desecrate that Maungatautari Mountain pa. There was a pa site up there and they put their marae at the bottom of it, Maungatautari marae, that wasn't there in the first place. So there, big lot of history. I can talk about that lot another time, but he's going to look after it for me, so I don't have to. I've got enough things to do at the moment. So that's Bidois, Rawiri Alexander Bidois. His company's Namtok Projects 2005 Limited, Te Ha or Te Whenua or Kiriroa Limited, Judgment Debtor, and MKTR Admin Limited, looks like it's been struck down, and Bidois Bagels Limited. So the companies, everything he owns will be foreclosed and bankrupted with these writ warrants in those 200 pages or so with warrants that went to England. So that's him, and the whakapapa afterwards that Alfred put together. And so that separates Alfred's authority against King Tuhetua down the other side of the whakapapa. That's what they did with that whakapapa of Te Waikato. They turned him into a woman, and on the whakapapa.
Yes,
And-
and I've got that whakapapa
Yeah.
in our own family. And,
Yeah, so you have to sort that out,
exactly
Alfred.
the same
They
thing.
did that, not
Yep.
the hapu didn't do that.
Yep.
The Crown and those
Yep.
Maoris in government did that
Yep.
to fool everybody
Yep.
about Te Waikato. It's plain to
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
you can see it, Andy.
Exactly.
Te Waikato as a
Yeah.
W beside it, woman
Yeah,
on the whakapapa. So they put that in there
Yeah.
deliberately to hide Te Waikato paramount chief
yeah,
and the Manukau title. So we got them. We have got them
yeah.
on that technical point of Alfred can sort that out in this court hearings
They
here.
claim he's the white chief.
Yeah. So yeah. So
And he's already a chief.
he's already a chief. So that's hidden. That
Uh.
thing, that rock at Pohara, they made Pohara Marae. That's a poor Marae. The name Pohara never existed. The Crown iwi authorities, the iwi trustees, put that name there with the Crown in New Zealand government to hide the real whakapapa or genealogy away from the public, and wrote it up that way. They wrote the history and put it on Wikipedia as their history, and we're coming up with the right history to wipe them out, to wipe them off the land. So we've got the jury versus and with the British Crown land title of Utatonga land title. Balance. We've gone and done that one.
Which page you on now, John?
Because
I'm on page
John, that's an hour.
101.
My dad.
101.
Yeah, that's Alfred put that together.
They did that.
He this is on the record now, what he's got here. Those people there, those trustees, any trustees are an enemy of us and the Crown, the
Exactly.
King's Crown
Yep.
authority that Hone Mason, Blair Ingram, and Gregory Cook, and Kate Baker, and also Tania Ramika will follow up behind what I'm doing here and take over from me, with Alfred taking over a lot of the load off me to do that. So we've gone past that with the jury. Where's Waitangi and McManus? He's been there for a long time, that guy. I know when I did the games up that area with Hare Utatonga, with the Utatonga title. Hare Utatonga was a Williams, Harry Williams, but he took that Utatonga title because he had all the documents put together by Henry Williams and those titles to the land. So we've got that against a whole lot of them now, and sort that out. And we sort this all out, and it'll all come right again. And the evidence in a corrupted fraud United States of America Corporation presented in this Magistrate King's Bench Court of Admiralty. That's on page 106. And Anna von Ritz, I wrote to her. I've got letters and emails to her and backwards and forwards about that time that I was following her. And so there's some bits of article in the yellow here. It is established fact on page 107. It is an established fact that the United States federal government was dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act, March 9, 1933, 48 Stat 1, Public Law 89719, declared by President Roosevelt, being bankrupt and insolvent, HJR 192, 73rd Congress in section, June 5th, 1933, joint resolution, suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States and official capacities of all United States government officers and departments. We're using these extracts in our court to do the same thing with an authority of a federal state flag government. So we are now officially New Zealand, UK federal government, not a state government, but a government on its own. So we're operating a federal government with Gregory Cook as a governor. I've appointed him as a governor of the documents. So he has to take stock of these documents and put them into law, make the law work for us.
Yes.
So on this page 107, we've got another yellow out. Finally, there's a municipal United States, the papers formerly Holy Roman Empire version, which operates as an incorporated entity doing business under various names, and which also claims to have 57 states that include municipal. That word municipal means that 8-point star of St. Patrick to pick up the money, the lease on the land. Here's the Pope using it. Municipal states of states, US possessions, and insula. The Pope is making business off that 8-point star of Admiralty on the sea, and he's running his business as a fraud business using the King's authority for us, the common law people of the land. So we can use this, what he's claiming as the birth certificates and his papal authority to go over the top of him with this flag of jurisdiction. States like Guam, the states, also exist on paper as incorporated entities, including US corporations. This is the Pope doing this as a business. It's not a church, it's a racketeering business. The under the Pope, and that obelisk they use as a penis in a vagina in Rome. That's horrible. That's horrible what they did with our memorials, the Moai Memorial and the Africans Memorial, to do that to it and use it for corporate business and thuggery and piracy on the high seas. So there, those are claiming this authority against the Pope and his business as rorting the King's laws. So there's some more English language that the Pope writing horrible words in the Serie Trust, how they write stupid English, coming up somewhere. So there's some more information on that. Just the Serie Trust I've got somewhere. Page 200, 111 now. Corporate offenders convicted of financial crime will be sentenced according to the 10-step process set out in the UK Sentencing Council's definitive guideline for fraud, bribery, and money laundering offences, which came into force on the 1st of October 2014 and was updated on 16th of May 2016. So I'm taking a lot of this law stuff from what they use in the UK and America, as we allowed to do it with this flag authority. Surrenders to custody, 112, page 112. Time for action of the Constitution sheriffs. That's what the technical term is of that flag, of that seal that we use for the sheriffs that are given to Gregory Cook to put on the documents that he has. The Constitution sheriffs, that's what you call it. They use the Constitution of the 1835, and we don't have to go into the Queen's 1852 Constitution. We stay in the safety of the 1835 Constitution on our land here, dry land. So we'll stick to that and not go into the 1852 Constitution. Clean out.
It's all post 1835.
Yeah.
So bench stuff.
Yeah, we go back to 1820 to 1830, King George IV authority and his Admiralty as well joined to 1830 to 1837, his brother, King William IV. Those two kings together put all this stuff for us to do in New Zealand with that flag. So there, we're doing it now, Andy. We have the right to do what the king said to do. 190 pages of arrest notices on 1/61 77 Cook Street, land seizure, 2022. So there, these documents here that you're looking at, I'm putting them onto the website so you can read the whole lot of what we put together at that time. So that's 190 pages of arrest notices already on Cook Street and Prime Minister John Key and all the rest of them. So we can pluck them off one by one now. We just go after these first lot of people, and especially Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister. That should be the first one after Cook Street, to take the government authority off the land, that they're operating a scam business on the land. End of this native King's Bench match.
Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, Ponzi. It's all Ponzi. The whole, and the US dollar at the same time. They're getting rid of their US dollar, but we catch them before they get rid of it and go into digital, more digital scam money. And they're doing it with Bitcoin to hide all their fraud, because you can't identify the fraud. And now they're screaming blue murder. The WEF wants Lidgard. She wants to investigate all of the Bitcoins and all the cryptocurrencies, because they're hiding a lot of their money away, the real money away in the Bitcoins and the crypto coins. And they can't find where it's going. And even the gold that the thugs and pirates are hiding in the cryptocurrencies and storing it away and using that as money currency. It'll crash before I can see crypto is crashing already. And I posted on my site, every time I see a crash, I stuck it up on my website, my Facebook site, so I can check back on how they're progressing and which one. It's gone down to 20,000. Bitcoin's gone down from 48,000 to 20,000 now. It's dropped that much. And so it's unstable, unsafe to be gambling money other than the pound note and the gold coins that we have won't be on stock markets like that ever again. We don't have stock markets in the King's Bench Court. None of it. We don't need that.
We don't have fiat currency in the King's
Yeah.
Court bench, King's Court either.
So
Bench either.
yeah, so this is the end of the King's Bench Magistrate Court hearings tonight. So thank goodness that was that. Please get all the court hearing information and video affidavits from the website in the Constitution, Sheriff's writ warrants and arrest warrants here, or simply type mypowerhouse.world into Google and pick a site there. You can see all that. We're on page 112 now. And so that ends the court hearing, Andy, and the time now is, we'll carry on with the hearing, with the discussions afterwards, and that's good, Alfred, because you're still here at the end of the hearing, and so I want to skip through it because it's just the same fraud. They're all the same fraud, and they got £1 trillion on each of their heads, and that's the end of it. Doesn't matter. They're all the same fraud. One fraud equals all the fraud. So there's 725 when we finish this court hearing.
Fraud vitiates all contracts.
Yeah, that's contract.
And all frauds.
Makes law, and law makes contract. We're making contracts and we're making law here in these court hearings as we progress. We've done about 8 or 9 court hearings so far. It's time for action. And so that signals all those people in organizations that can read into this, pick up quick of what we're doing, how we do a native court hearing, and start doing something about it. And they use the Moai Crown King William IV Trust. That's one private. We don't have to register that company. And we use Ngā Atua Ewa Aotea Limited, that's a New Zealand registered company here, to base all their claims into those 2 entities as they own it, and those 2 companies, they own it here in New Zealand. And then you've got the Moai Powerhouse Group Limited Company in England. I've let it go for now, but I've already gone in to put it reinstated again because I let it lapse, and I'll put that back up again once we get ourselves sorted here in New Zealand. I can get Lee Kent, the accountant, to pick it up again once we get financial, then register that company in London, then flick it out of there and put it into Westminster City under our own legal system. So it has to be registered in order for the Crown there to listen to that company. And here they have to listen to us here because we're registered as one company registered. So we've got that, and we've got the Moai Powerhouse Bank and the Moai Royal Bank to go with the pound note to where the funds will come back into our bank that we set up once we get financial. Yeah, Andy, your job is a bank manager in Britain, at least on the record, as looking after that lot of responsibility, with Jackie Little Gordon as the manager for England, for Britain, I should say, and Matt Taylor for the world of the flag where it's gone to. So there, that's his position on that executive there. Once I have Zoom meetings with them to pull our group back together again, once we get financial here in New Zealand, then we can afford to pay people to do the job, and also the Navy, to pay the Navy to do the job as well, to help us to recover the debts of other nations in the world of 250 countries with these writ warrants. Once we get this writ warrant sorted out here, one bit of land, Andy, that's all it'll take, Cook Street, and they lost the case, the police lost the case, and the landowners lost the case. There's no reason why we can't pick it up and walk in and take it this time. It's just a business transaction, contract. I pulled them into contract with me, and then got the marshals to go in and seize the property with the writ warrant, that 196-page writ warrant, and we'll do it again with the Home Guard, and I'm making that public so that people know what we're doing. I don't hide nothing. I have no secret agenda or groups that are in private by themselves. They have to come out of the woodwork because we're open to the world now with that flag, not only New Zealand. So we're here as a template or a blueprint for the rest of the world and Britain at the same time as being the first one to go. So I'll just say a bit about this one. Here's the writ warrant here. It's very intense stuff just for one bit of land. And so we're using these two here, King William and Moai, that's standing in London as our authority to enforce these laws over anybody breaking these laws of a king. So there, regardless of what the Queen does to abdicate to Prince Charles, regardless of what they do, it's fraud, what they're trying to do to abdicate without her being on the throne. She's dead and gone long ago. So there, this is, I'll just briefly talk about it as you scroll through it. Those seals along the top are sent to Gregory Cook, and pulled them out one by one. Just as well I had the documents here because my 2 hard drives, the big ones I got, are down on the farm in the bag that I left behind. So I pulled all those and explained each one what they mean. And you've got that dragon there. That's the gold that's missing. That's the Moai gold, that's God's earth gold that's missing from the trust, the Queen Victoria Trust and the Sergei Trust, and all that the Pope did and using the Admiralty to steal all he's got, the wealth he's got, off the people around the world. His church is not worth the paper it's written on against this God of truth, L-O-R-E, law, truth of God. So there's the Judge David Lindsay Mackey. I've got a video of history saying she's received the documents and they'll look at them. And so there's our seal there of the 2 chiefs and Kendall and there, and the flag on that seal. So I've got to pull those. So that's Tahitian John Monga's flag John Munger sealed there as Marshal, so we'll replace that one because it didn't work. So we've got Dean Murray signed that at the time. I see he's still following. I've seen him here in Hamilton, so he's still following what we're doing. And so we've got the other ones that signed these documents in the marshals, and Ho, Kawanata Ho, was looking after the documents, while Gavin Marshich led the marshals in on the site of Cook Street. And this time we'll be more prepared and better approach than what those guys had no idea what to do with this writ warrants. And so we needed to understand the Admiralty for a start. You need to know everything about the Admiralty for a start, and that's what Gregory Cook has got, a lot of information on Admiralty and the Navy, Air Force and Army. So he's got that experience, and the fact that he has a team of people to administer this business for the whole of New Zealand here. And the rest of the world will come from Britain when they join up with us here in our organisation. This crew will be going over to England, so we'll end up with 12 altogether from the original 6 people. So there's Doug Rickard and James Pierce Brown and Simon Breadmount-Tree, those 2 landowners. I've got to get the transfer title and see who's on the block, if they're still there, and any of their businesses will be on their mortgage documents. So that's my experience in real estate, is mortgage investigation of titles and bank transactions, lawyers, all that sort of thing is what I've been through to get this far. So there we've got the 970 million trillion pound note. It's a high figure that I put together to go right above what they can come out with if they have any idea of going right back to 1689, when all the racket started from, picked up all that gold and everything from those kings and took it into their custody as prized possessions of a king. So there, I'm going right backdating, and it'll come out not far from what I'm saying as total that's missing. So then we have the shares in the pound note. So everybody that comes into the King's Bench Court and registers, once I get the website going properly and get the shares will go out to everybody joining from what we recover as a business. You have to go into a corporate business on a King's side to go up against the Queen's Bench corporate business. So we are a corporate business as Moai Crown King William IV Trust. That's just another business entity. So there we have that. If you just go through it, Andy, and it's a lot to go on. A lien debtors case, valuation of the land and everything in it, doctrines and documents of title acts and so forth. So those are all the seals we use in our documents along top, including the one on the left, the Moai Powerhouse Tidal Energy. Once we get the funding, the British will say, what are you going to do? We say we're going straight into the turbines and the right around the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Right around the world. And that's our income is from the water, currency, money, from what we make out of the hydrogen for fuel and for the hydrogen aircraft. They can't get them off the ground without this. They can't do it with fossil fuels. It costs too much. The only way is to take it from the sea. So that's our economic plan for what we do, asset recovery. See, it's got everything on how we recover the debt from the land. And so going over all their assets, I've done a thing on their land and everything, all that, and all their businesses, these 2 on Cook Street. And so they would have made more businesses since 2008 when this first started off on that land with Moi Manukau. So a lot of people were involved with this fraud land transaction. The lawyers were right in on it. Mark Hornibrook and Andrew MacDonald, those two lawyers that's got £1 trillion on their heads for the conveyancing instruments. They forged them. They forged the land titles, transfers with the road, the little road going through the middle of the block was a road, a crown road, and they dumped the $300 million of the investors' money into that road title, then got rid of all the investors lost their money. And they asked me, some of them asked me to help them. And even Jamie Peters asked me, I got the titles of him. He gave me the titles, the land titles to help him because he went bankrupt at the same time that they foreclosed on him. And so that's where all that started from 2008. Yeah, so that's some information. I'm glad that I managed to get it on the website in one shot. So I can put all the land titles, all the land. You can learn how they defraud the people, the public, with anywhere in the world. The same land title structure of the Freemasons put those land titles certificates together. I'll put them on the website here. And then you can read how they did it. I'll show you how they did it in little videos that I can put together. Although there's videos explaining it all in some of the 1,500 or 1,600 or so videos I've got on YouTube, but they've got rid of some of them that was too much for them. And they got rid of some of my information that I had on the website as well. And Cook Street, they wiped them all out. And John Key, they wiped all those out. So there's a lot of King's Bench orders here. So it just shows you how the King's Bench operates. And going to the High Court in London, the Admiralty part of the High Court, the Admiralty courts was consolidated into the High Court of the Rolls Building in the City of London under the Rothschilds. That's their city and their country. They separated from England so that they can play around with all this lot, and you can't touch them except this flag and go over the top of the Bank of England and the Rothschilds with this lot. Yeah, and so there, apart from that seal there of the marshals, then Greg and the Home Guard will be using the Moai seal and the King William on his horse seal in its place. That's Hawaii, the King of Hawaii, and the UN. That's the UN that John Mona and UN marshals were acting under the United Nations with that seal. So there, it sort of didn't do much for the document at the time. So I'll redo all of that and rehash the whole lot. Those are the people that we had at the time in government, especially that Chris Finlayson there, the second one along, and Muir, the land information one, the first one, Muir. That's the land information guy that I went up against. He got $1 trillion on his head for forging the title, allowing it to go through. When I went with Dean Murray into the Hamilton Land Information Office, and Dean handed the documents over to the Land Information. That's Chris Finlayson, done a lot of damage. That guy, and John Key, the fourth one along. That's I just forget what's the third one, but John Key is right there with this other guy beside him, and Peter Sharples, the Maori sellout to the UN on the end there. So they're on the list of fraudulent conveyance and all that. So we can pick them off one by one. And I use counts, the counts of a normal county of Britain. against them, all those count 3, count 4, count 5, count 6, count 1, and all the rest of it, of all the charges that they've broken the British laws, the British laws. There's this guy here, Tim Duffy, on the left. That's the policeman that laughed like hell against me on Cook Street, and he's the one that shoved me off the land, and he was going to arrest me, but I said I'm doing business on the land, and so because there was a complaint against this woman here on the right, I managed to get a photo of her from the video camera when John Monger used my camera to video all what was happening in the office, and I put it straight onto YouTube, and they used that video against us with all the videotaping that I allowed the public to see, the thugs and pirates. And now I'm going to use those videos against these thugs on Cook Street, pull them out one by one, 42 of them all together with £1 trillion on the head for stopping my business with the King and the British government. So they got on the road of a normal business transaction. What you call it? I had private investigators to do it, but I had no money to pay them. It would have been all over if I paid the lawyer, Tai Choi, and the private investigator, Graham Aylett from Browns Bay. He was very good. He did a lot of work for nothing at the time I was doing it, because he acknowledged all the documents that I sent him, all these documents and everything, and even some other lawyers as well. So we can use them as well to, if we need to, but that's in the wrong court. It won't work. Those lawyers won't work. So
yeah, not in
yeah,
not in statute jurisdiction.
That's the wrong court.
Wrong
We're
jurisdiction.
better in our own court. There's King William's Crown and Anchor. That's his Crown and Anchor for the Admiralty of the Fleet. Right there, that one there. But I put them in black and white because it was cost too much to print it all out in color. At the time, I bound them up and gave the books over. I dished the books out with all those 196 pages. I had to finish off the summary at the end. So at the end of it, you'll see all the numbers left over with nothing beside. I had to write out each page of the history of the story of each page yet when I get around to it. At the end of the document, you'll see extra pages with numbers only of a summary of everything. Otherwise, everything is there. There's the fake, there's the fraudulent title transfer, that one that just went past on the sale of the land and of the road and the land, and dumped all those investors into the road, the Crown Road, splitting up the block section, and got rid of them and kept and sold the land as one block. The council was behind the scam on that block. They let it go through because they didn't think anybody was going to do anything about it. They said, you've got no interest in the land. Yes, we have. Any Maori has an interest, an unregistered interest in land, any land that has come from Maori chiefs. That's in law. The Land Act. I forget what's the number of the land. 145A Land Act. Land Act. Yeah. You'll see it in the documents when I put them up tomorrow, of the land deeds and everything. Yeah. So there, that's John Key and Mata Prai, Sean Elias, the judge. She was on the scam too. Sean Elias and Chris Finlayson, they're all in on the scam, and I can pull them out one by one for defrauding the people of New Zealand at the time under that Crimes Act 1961, offences tried only in the cases in the district court. Yeah, so there, that's all the information that goes with it. New South Wales, Victoria, prosecutor has a discretion public interest. Yeah, so there, it's a lot of information against what they're breaking the law, all of them. So there you go. That's it really. and I squashed everything down in smaller font, so that I can get a lot of information into one page. If you see a lot of my pages with pictures all over it, it takes a lot of memory. They can go up to 3 gigabytes of information on one page, just the pictures that suck up all the memory in the computer. There's pictures like this one.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of information, the colored ones especially. So it's a lot of information on one page to blow up. You can blow it up on color on your computer, especially a good big computer with a big screen. You can read all those documents if you blow it up. So there, some of the things I wrote like that. At the time, I was running out of time. Just jammed it all in at the same time. But it's still, that's what they did in the old days. They just wrote like that. And so we write like that again. We can write any way we like in this court. There's Jeffrey Foley. He's supposed to be the king at the time with David Lindsay Mackey, that judge next to him.
Where's he at? Is he still?
He's in Victoria,
Victoria,
Australia.
But is he still supporting us?
I don't know. I haven't. I've been sending him stuff, all these court hearings to him, but I've never heard back from him. So he's in the family of the Foley's Admiralty back to 300 AD, a long history of Admiralty.
Yeah, because I would have thought he would have come on this to support us.
Yeah, no, he's a supporter of the Queen and Samoa. So he's mixed up with Samoa and fellows like Chris Farfoy and all of that and their economic development. So he's watching that.
Yeah.
And he's Lauderdale Castle in Wales.
Yeah.
Lord Howden Castle. So that's his castle that he wanted to fix up at the time that I was going with him and Jamie Patrick together online, trying to sort out his kingship to go into the throne. So he's not making any challenge to the throne.
I'll have to show you the instruments that he gave me.
Yeah, but
what's that? Just for you, John, just for your perusal.
Yeah.
Just in case they may help us.
Yeah, well, I don't think he can help because he's on a different. He's following his own king line, and the Queen.
Yeah.
He supports the Queen.
Yeah, well, we can still hold him to account for what he wrote.
Yeah, but I think we just stay on King William IV, be safe, because this is where the contract is.
Yeah.
He hasn't got any contracts. He's got Admiralty, but no contract. We've got the contract. And so that's we're making law, and the law makes the contract, and the contract makes the law.
Exactly.
So there, we're making law as we go, the same as what the government here and the government in Britain makes laws up as they go along. Statute, they alter the laws of kings and then put their own spin on it. So there, Andy, that's about all I can say for now. We'll open the floor up to everyone and see what the feedback is or who we've got there on the panel that might want to have a say now after all this lot. I'm glad that we've got through it. That's the main thing. We've got through. We've got action now. It's sheriff's is next, and to do something with these documents.
Really.
Anybody got any ideas or anything that would be helpful from any organisation that's wanting to do something about it? Where's my team?
Yeah, could I talk? I'll speak to the bench. It's Gregory Cook here, titled as Atamita. Thank you, John, for sending through all that documentation. It's a huge file, so it's going to take me a bit to get it ingested into the system here at the Home Office. But I've been speaking with a bit of the crew at this stage in regards to the prospects of activating the sheriff. I guess what we're needing is the guidance of yourself on what that looks like in the field as far as an operation. Are we mirroring something similar to the constabulary as we see it today and the type of performance that would be expected from those types? Are we doing that? Or do we have the liberty to create something that is worthy of representing the population that is in support of the King's Bench?
Yeah, so to answer that, we have to design it ourselves for the now, and apply what we think, and not follow what is there, because they all get the authority from a silent king in the Queen's Bench Court. It's still there. They can't operate without the king authority. So we apply the best way we think the law from America and the laws from Britain, where they are practicing it already, especially America using federal law and Australia using federal law when this flag is a federal flag. So we haven't used that power yet of federal government and applied the law. We're making the law as we're going now and thinking business. It's all about the business of contracts that we have to apply now with the systems that are there, so that they know what we're talking about and they can relate to what we claim against their crown, the crown, that meaning the monarchs that are in Westminster. So really what we have to do is to hold them to account and foreclose on any businesses that we pick up one by one. We can't take the whole lot out on it. There's too many people. It's too big. So we clip away from here only for a start and make an example out of somebody that's breaking the rules of the system itself in their courts, but they're also breaking our laws of a King's Bench court that they're operating from. Yeah.
So just to extend into that conversation, to put it into a perspective of future thinking, just making the assumption that we stood up under this authority. Okay, we've got the jury that sits to witness the charges or the proceedings before the bench. Is there a statistic or is there a referendi on a population that support both the Confederation of Chiefs, Huakaputanga, Huakaminga, and what would that population look like, assuming there's one there? For argument's sake, is there 1,000 people in support in the population of 5 million, or is there half the population of support? I know that's just a bit of a guess, but just to give us an idea from the bench's point of view in Aotearoa, New Zealand, what type of population will support the law and order that the sheriffs are charged to do?
This has to be, it has to be a transition of power of that crown system into people's thinking. So we have to start from a nucleus, a small amount of where authority comes from, which is Te Tii Marae, and go back to the beginning of where it should have been, and then go from there to the masses. People gradually pick up the truth of the matter, of what the flag really means. It means a hell of a lot than what it is. It's just flag, and who's using it. That's the people got to realize who's usurping it for themselves, meaning the government in Wellington, giving it away to all the other countries, including Britain and America, to use that Admiralty straight as Lord High Admiral title that Biden's using, and he's not even an admiral. He's using it on his documents. So we're using it on our documents.
Excuse me, John. So the rangatira of Huakaputanga and Wakaminga are in support of this. In the past, I've seen through your documentation, there was obviously a bench stood up at some time with good support throughout the Hapu rangatira or chief. Are we still seeing that today on the marae, or we still have to rebuild that relationship again, is what you're saying?
Of the, on the taumata there, and the taumata kaumata Ngāpui. The problem is that they're still with the Queen's Court bench due to their ignorance.
Yes,
Right.
so they haven't
Yeah.
picked up. They haven't picked up all these years of what I've been trying to say on the marae to go into business. And we're going to use the flag because it's a business flag. It's not a protest flag. So that they're taking a long time, and they're starting to see now. Even Manahi has supported me on the King's Bench Court in Waitangi on Te Tii Marae, and even Hohepa Epiha and Kingi and Willie Peita on Waitangi Marae, inside Waitangi Marae, in what I was doing to try and make it work, make the flag work for us. And so we've got evidence of that. And so it hasn't reached the masses until somebody loses a piece of land, and then it starts to sink in, you see.
Sure.
So you just need to get one piece of land and the rest will follow, fall behind. Yeah, like a house of cards.
Yeah, because the problem, Gregory, is this, that there, it's been, Te Tii Marae is compromised by the trustees.
Yeah.
And the
And
trustees,
we acknowledge that the trustee is the enemy of the King's Bench.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
could
exactly.
so the extension into the question from there for me, just for some clarity for the Home Guard, is that we've got evidence of a population through the rangatira mentioned just then in the past to stand John's identity or this concept forward, which we've got that. Now we've had an issue with the marshals in their performance in the field to date, being rightfully or wrongfully executed in the field, and therefore them being jailed for it. So I guess what we're trying to look at from the Home Guard's point of view is knowing that we have this bench and this jury right now gives us the authority through the protection of the Admiralty's law to go about exercising the sheriff's ability to undertake the tasks before the Home Guard. And is it that the Te Tii Marae population fear the corporation title only through naivety or infant state? Would that be correct?
Yeah,
that's correct.
That's correct, because we're still infants on a trust.
Yeah.
We still have the Queen Victoria Trust as our business. It still belongs to us, and we can wind it up, which is what we're going to do. Is to
So that's where I was trying to get to, John. So where's the process for winding it up, and if so, what anomalies, be it negative or positive, would, from your point of view and your experience, do you see coming from that action?
So this is an education. It's an education for all people to do something about the situation we're all in around the world now. It's from here. The missing link is here to correct it. We have to correct it for the world to come right again, and for the people to get back on their land and do what they want in their own way, rather than be forced on them, which is what's happening. And so we've got something to go on now, which was already there in the first place, and all we had to do is implement it and start small like this and gradually pick up. We started with a few people in the beginning, and it's starting to get around a bit more at a time. The sooner they know, the better we'll get on and do something with it. So it's a lot to absorb and to do. And the marshals at the time weren't good readers of it, although Kamanata Pope, he was looking after the documents to see how to do things, but the execution wasn't done well. That's all it was. I could have done it myself, but I thought it's not about me. It's about an organization that we set up as a business to run it ourselves. You run it, we run it, and everybody that comes in has full knowledge of how to run this business in a bigger corporate way than just an incorporation on a piece of land. It's bigger now that the Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth took it around the world through the World Court and United Nations. So we have to think that far ahead and how we can tackle the whole lot just from TT Marae. And that's the authority I am obligated to go back to Waitangi with something concrete about how to do things from Britain.
So the example you're trying to set, first and foremost, I'm guessing on a calendar, would be to achieve the mission of Cook Street.
Yes.
To set a precedence in the event you take the Utu Tonga papers into Te and claim Te under Utu Tonga's claim, therefore,
Yes.
Therefore banishing the trusteeship under the crown of Queen Elizabeth II's ascension.
Yes, that's the example. That's piece of land example is that one and the Waikato one on that marae there. Those two are the main ones for this country that the government has usurped from the hapu. And so we go back to those two main ones, and I have to go back to the East Coast to pick up that land titles and all the documents, the whole lot of documents. Hare Ututonga or Harry Williams was a Confederation member with Mohi Manukau and
with myself,
and Alfred at the time, going back to 2000, and gave all those documents to me. So I have to give them back.
But that's sort of, to me, like a last resort card in the interim if the trustees of Te don't willfully come across to the King's Bench.
Well, the thing is that that's something that can be sorted out regardless of them, because the thing is that they're only trustees over the paper titles, not over the land.
Yeah, paper titles.
I've got a Māori land case precedent against those trustees, 2015, and I think they're pretty well aware of that, but they're just trying to disregard it. But it was held before Judge Armstrong. He was forced to reverse his 2014 decision, and this was in regards to Gregory, the claim of the alienation of that block to Henry Williams, and in that case, in 2014, Judge Armstrong held that the alienation to Henry Williams, and therefore that land was placed under Māori freehold land. However, due to the fact that the court was unable to provide the evidence to that, the minute records and everything to do that with that case with Henry Williams, well, the Judge Armstrong was forced to reverse it, and so officially today, unless in theory, Te Marae is actually put back under Māori custom land, and because of, if that's the case, therefore the Te trustees actually have no jurisdiction over the land, because they are trustees of the Māori freehold title, and the Māori freehold title under the Te Ture Whenua Māori Act 1993 falls under section 211(1) and falls under section 129 subsection 1 subsection B and subsection 2 and subsection B. That's Māori freehold land. In other words, that because Judge Armstrong was forced to reverse the decision in 2015, and he held that the trustees that had no jurisdiction over the Maori customary lands, only over their paper titles, which is Maori freehold title. So that's fictitious title. They're counterfeit titles, as held in the Ngāti Apa versus Attorney General case in 2003 Court of Appeal. At paragraph 140, they held that all New South Wales radical titles, all New South Wales Torrens registrations, and all lease agreements were pretend titles, pretend conveyances, and pretend lease agreements. And at paragraph 148 it was held that the burden is on the New Zealand Crown to prove extinguishment of the native land title, which is the Maori customary land, and the necessary purpose must be clear and plain. And further to that, in 2012, the final court, which is a Supreme Court in Wellington, in Paki versus Attorney General case, it held that the Ngāti Apa versus Attorney General case in 2003 was good law. So they've gone. Now it's fait accompli, checkmated. They're checkmated on, and so far as them trying to drag our people through the courts and try to use lawyers to do this and do that. No, it states clearly, and that was held by Chief Justice Sean Elias, it states clearly that the burden of proof is on them, and the necessary purpose must be clear and plain.
Thank you, Alfred.
Thank you, Alfred.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think the language I'm hearing there is burden of proof, which is giving me the confidence to speak to my recruits as to why they should put their body on the line.
Exactly.
So that's really where I'm coming from, as a safety procedure on deck, as far as an order coming down from the bench, as to the authority we can speak to, which is burden of proof. Thank you for that, Alfred.
Yeah, exactly. Because Gregory, you know, and the thing is, this is all upheld in Crown written law. So for any lawyers, Crown lawyers and all that to try and go against it, they're going against their own Crown written law. Yeah.
Burden of proof. That's the language I was looking for safety procedures on deck. Thank you, Alfred. I appreciate your time on that. That's me.
So
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's where we stand today, and to apply what we're writing and claiming in bold statements, making bold statements in the public and into the people with their photographs that have not been removed all this time. None of them have told me you can't speak as a Crown, or you can't do that to people. They won't say nothing so far. And that's what we use. We use that affidavit, like this video is an affidavit. It's a sworn testimony of what we're saying. We mean what we say, and now we're going to do what we say, and that's how law works. Really, how law works, if it's true and correct. And we're saying it is true. What we're saying is true until it's not true.
So the burden of proof, again, that language from the Queen's bench to the King's bench is not, the onus is not on us.
Yes,
it's actually on them. It's on the Queen's Court bench. The burden of proof is on them. And because both John and I have got sworn affidavits that were filed to the New Zealand government and all the agencies, you know, notice to the principals, notice to the agent, notice to the agent, notice to the principal. Therefore, they can not deny that sworn affidavits have been provided to them for them to refute, and they haven't.
Yeah, so silence is no excuse. So,
So
I'll
do,
answer that
so when
question.
that side that burden of proof using C100 hours as a reference of time, are we still in the reference of time for response in 14 days, 30 days, 90 days, or 18
It's a
months?
default. It's a,
Well, in the if you look at the Bills of Exchange Act in 1908, okay. Now, when you're looking at the Bills of Exchange Act, okay, it's like if we go to the Bills of Rights, the Bill of Rights Act 1688 to 1689, those bills apply to all bills. Okay, as in the Bills of Exchange Act 1908. Now, so all legislations, all acts of parliament are bills. Okay, so I'm just trying to think where my point of when using the Bills of Rights Act 1688 and to 1689 by King William III of Orange, because don't forget the King's Court Bench. He was the one that put the Admiralty into the sea. He was the one that put the commercial Admiralty into the sea. It wasn't the Queen's Court Bench. It was the King's. Okay. So insofar as all bills, as in the Bills of Exchange Act, that applies to all bills that were passed into legislation. That applies to all bills passed as acts of parliament, all bills passed as regulation. So we're talking about bills, which is when you're talking about the King's Court Bench, the bench being the bank. So we're talking banking language. So when we say counterfeit, the counterfeit flag, it means it's a counterfeit as opposed to the King's Court Bench, that the New Zealand flag is a counterfeit. That the Australian flag is counterfeit. Every other flag is counterfeit. If it's not the King's Court Bench flag that was put into Admiralty of the Sea first, everything that's following it is counterfeit, including the City of London Rothschild's bankers' fiat currency. The dollar is counterfeit because the pound note was there first, under the 1694 Bank of England, under King William the Third of Orange.
So what you're saying to my question, Alfred, is because I was asking about, because you're saying we don't have a statute of limitation on our charges.
No,
but
no.
if we're going to stand up a process from the Home Guards / Sheriff's point of view, are we still obligated under the C100 hours formula of the C to give? You've obviously given people plenty of notice to respond in the last documents, and they haven't responded so they've. I'm asking, have they, to give us the authority to go and do seizure? I guess through a policy of transparency through time, are we still obligated by 14, 30 days and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, what it is, okay, if we're going to go by the Bills of the Bill of Rights Act 1688 to 1689, okay, and we're doing a genealogy whakapapa on it. So therefore, when you're looking at all acts of parliament, they're all under the Bills of Exchange Act 1908, because that's the Bills of Exchange Act 1908, just as it comes under the Bill of Rights Act 1688, 1689 from King William the Third of Orange. We start from that point, okay? So the Bills of Exchange Act, when we're looking at 1908, section 93, it's got the computation of time. And the computation of time is 72 hours, 3 days.
Yeah.
That's what it's got in there. And that's following from the biblical codes of the cock crowed 3 times.
Right.
That's where the 72 hours comes from. And if you like in the Wizard of Oz, where Dorothy clicks her heels 3 times. They're still following the 3, that's the 3-strike rule. So
Yeah.
I only give them 72 hours every time. You know, when they give you 28 days, when they give you infringement notice for traveling for under land transport, they give you 28 days. What I do is I reply it straight away within 72 hours, and I inform them there's 72 hours, and I'll give them like 2 days postage to there, and another 2 day reverse postage. So that's 4. And what I do is I tell them in my letter, I'm giving you an extra 2 days both ways for postage time, and 3 days. So that's 1 week. I always say 1 week. So when I give them notice, I say, well, today, just say today is the 25th. I would write in my letter the date today, 25th, and I would say the expiry time is 7 days later, and I'll actually put the date in there, and that will be my first notice. And what I do when 1 week comes up and they haven't responded, I give them a reminder notice, which is the second notice, just like they do, and give them another 72 hours, same, and which is another week. And so by 2 weeks later, that's when I issue them the third final default notice, and giving them another 72 hours plus the 2 days either side of postage. And by that time, Gregory, I have them in default by 21 days before their own 28 days is up. And that's what we can use under the King's Court bench law.
Thank
We
you.
don't have to comply with their rules.
No, that's what I was just trying to get
They
again.
actually know their rules, because it's in their own Bills of Exchange Act 1908, Section 9, computation of time. It's got clearly in there 72 hours.
Thank you for that, Alfred. I was just clarifying my memory on time, C100 hours, based on Admiralty law. So thank you for that.
Yep.
So in response to that, they've got triple defaults on my 2011 right up till now of repeated notices to John Key and Jacinda Ardern, and even in that document, that 109-page writ warrant, there's more notices to them, and even the landowners on Cook Street, 21-day notices. They all got 21-day notices and no response over and over again since then, right till now. And this one that I give them another 21-day notice of from the court hearing, another 21 days notice to respond, and they won't respond, and they stay in silence, which means a default contract. End of story. You can put your own 21-day notice from the sheriffs on top of them, but there's no need to, because it's already a proven fact that they're being notified enough times by me and even the marshals carrying out their duties, but they executed it in a wrong fashion, didn't know enough about how to do things, and not pull people by the neck and throw them out of the office and those sort of things. There's a better way than that. But I've had 3 videos of their officers, their owners on the block, and going to their offices and videoing them, giving them the notice, and they're reading the notice on the video as being served, notice to vacate the property back then. And then their lawyers scribbled up the documents and forged everything with the landowners at the time. So that is enough information on it to give them another 21-day notice to cough up and to pick them off one by one out of the people that are put on trial and go after one by one. And
so can I just jump in there, John? So having all that said, and we're going to go through attempt the same process through the Home Guard in the sheriff's role, and we don't have any joy through communications from the other bench. what powers of arrest does the King Bench give the sheriff, and what facilities would we require in that event?
Well, that's where I kept going to the police and informing the police what my intention was to seize the property. And they went along with it. The police in Auckland Central went along with it until somebody complained to the police, and then they took action to come and remove us from the land. And so
would our path of least resistance in that experience in the future be more like informing the constabulary called the New Zealand Police to assist in the uplift of property, or otherwise?
They won't, because they say it's a civil matter. That's what I had when I went to the police.
So it's in civil. So when they got that complaint, when they got that complaint against a civil
they
matter,
actioned the complaint and not
complaint over the civil matter.
Yeah, over what I was doing
So are we suggesting in that experience then that constabulary action is not appropriate for the future, or it is? Do we still got to go to them to inform them of the proceedings before the King's Bench?
Yes, we have to go in, because they're the police of their organisation. We haven't got a police force. We only got the British Navy.
Yes, thank you for that, John. Or are we able to engage the military police, that being the New Zealand Navy, to escort and support in security of the uplift of Cook Street?
Only if we pay them in advance of the pound note. And we show them how we cash up the fraud case with the pound note instrument to pay them. That's your communications with the Navy on assisting us. It'll be the Navy more so than the military, because they've got the Admiralty that got the documents to let everybody on the land from the sea. So that's the first point of call, is you to contact the Navy here. And that video with Dion Harp saying
confirmation
the Navy is proof that they are obligated. So then that's your first point of call, to go and see him and to convey to him the pound note that we have the right to enforce over criminals that we call criminals doing on the land.
Could I ask the bench whether I'm au fait that the Rear Admiral of the New Zealand Royal Navy, Mr. Proctor, is he still in office in that position? Do we know?
He was when I was doing the court case. He was, but they have to find. There might be a new one. It's easy to find who's in there now. And
I believe he's still in there. I was just hoping that, just to make sure that
he has got my letters.
Yeah,
I think he's still in office.
I've written to him as well, and he's gone quiet. You know, they're playing games, and their excuse is that we don't have the money to pay
the wages,
which is an excuse really, because you know, because we know that they're using our flag to pick up the rent in this country.
Yeah,
you know. And it's that rent that they're picking up in this country that's paying their wages. So there's no excuse.
Yeah, so that's a first point of call. I've got letters in my computer to Proctor and Martin. Martin is the other one in the Navy. That I've got letters on. I'll put on the website.
Yeah, I've said it on both too.
Yeah, and served them notice. To assist us before I went to the police to see if the police will assist us to at least arrest one property. It's just like arresting a human. They treat as vessels and all the rest of their language. So there, we follow that path and go back to where and pick up where I was before in as a commercial business. So we go as the Ngātua Wa Aotea Limited business that belongs to you and everybody in this country of New Zealand. They have a stake in it, and the Moai Crown King William IV Trust. That's those two that I've got on those documents, as the entities up against the Crown entity. The Queen in New Zealand, not the Queen in England, the Queen in New Zealand, documents of the government. So there, you're up against this government and this country, not England, and so far as what they're doing with the land. It's the
Thank you.
land. Hi, money. Hey, money. See you there. Yeah, so
That's
there.
pretty much all I've got. That's all I've got, just to help me for some clarity for my communications out to the field. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, especially
Okay, thank you, Greg.
especially from Ngāpuhi, they should know all this. They should pick it up, and because they own it. Everything I say online like this is is as if we're on a marae court hearing, because we can do this remote without a bar or a dock to make our court hearings with that flag. It allows us to do this. Otherwise, it's not challenged by anyone online. Or from anywhere, or even Britain. No one's saying nothing about how we conduct. This is about the 9th court hearing we've had online so far. And we might not have the big crowds and everything, but we just need a core group to spearhead it and to make it work. We have to make the flag do the work, because it is powerful instrument, legal instrument that we need to do something with before it's too late next year, when the UN comes and takes the whole lot. Yeah, so we only got this year to do something with it.
That's why we're really pushing it, Gregory, you know.
Yeah, we have to do something right now.
Up against time. And the problem is, really, you know, Te Tii Marae has actually been a stumbling block. You know, there's too many there on the taking the backhanders and trying to block everything.
They don't understand commercial law and business, admiralty.
Could I be as bold as to sort of look through the crystal ball to a year from now, and there is no change in a political or geopolitical landscape known as Waitangi, and our authority under this flag, both nationally and internationally, has a termination date. Are we then forced to civil war?
It's a war flag already. We're at war now, as we speak. With that flag is a war flag. If anybody,
I mean, if we get no joy of them coming to the bench, are we in a state of? Are we able to declare a civil war?
That's against the government here, especially here, the government itself. That I'm saying we're at war with them on these lands and their business, their private business operations that go against the hapu and every New Zealander that doesn't understand Admiralty law and its power to do what they like under federal law, to do what they want with us. They've got control over us because of something, some power they're getting from somewhere. They're getting their power from somewhere, and you have to guess where they're getting all their power from.
Well, I would suggest that through the mediocrity of consent across the population that have had no real genuine choice in the past, except complying to the one that's obvious, which is we're saying is a fake crown. I guess it's incumbent upon us to establish the big crown, the correct crown, in a language that goes across nations as much as it goes across Aotearoa. Because a republic crown is a safe crown, if you ask me, my personal view.
Safe. Safe.
Yeah.
Back in the safety of the king and his laws, his acts with not much statutes in it. All the statutes have altered a king's straight common law for people, for normal people.
So again through the crystal ball, and say fast forward 10 years, and we've stood this identity up as law and order and an authority for the common people to come and hear their grievances within. We're saying to the population that are still yet to be convinced that the corporate and the common law are both hand in glove.
Yeah, so
Common law, the bench, or known as the King's Bench, is only there to witness the proceedings and stamp it to move forward. That's the ultimate
Yeah.
goal, yes?
yeah, that's right. It's to go back to a common law situation where we've got control of the commercial side of a king's laws of the sea on the land. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can go both ways, the sea and the land, against the crown that has vice admiral, not admiral.
That's
We're going under the flag of admiral.
Do you think that
Someone
that-
else is on.
Who's speaking?
Okay, I muted. It didn't realise it was unmuted.
Yeah.
Like I'm just unmute.
Yeah, so Greg, we have to use our own intuition to apply, because they're bigger than us, like David and Goliath. They are huge. They've got all the money out of the Admiralty for their own family's business. And so we have to tackle them the best way we can with our brilliant minds of people watching what we do. Make one mistake and we're gone. We're not here to make mistakes.
Yeah,
We have
so
to
I'm very cautious, John, on how we progress from here for that very reason, because we've had an
Yeah.
example in Cook Street as a mistake. I think from what I've been reading and what I've heard over the past with the Cook Street scenario, I think the marshals' hearts were in the right place. The actions were flawed. I
Yeah.
think it's not a case of having buy-in from the population that says we're with the King's Bench and that authority. It's the example that has to be remolded, let's say, to give people the confidence to stand up this authority on their behalf, I think is
That's
what.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. We set the example.
Yeah.
We have to set the example and try again, and to do a better job with the documents. The documents are very good, but it's carrying it out. The doing the job
Yeah.
is with the documents that says it all.
Yeah. The thing
I
is
think-
that we need people properly trained and educated to know what, you know. We can't just have pick up people and give them a 24-hour education lesson. And that's the problem with some of these groups who where people are putting up their hands and wanting to be part of it, and yet they don't really comprehend the
Yeah.
law.
You need to
And they
learn.
don't really comprehend due process
Yeah.
and a hell of a lot of things.
You need to know.
Seriously.
You need to know what you're
Yeah.
doing and how to do it, and execution.
Yeah.
The execution of the documents. And Graham Mallett, the private investigator, he's an ex Scotland Yard in Browns Bay. He took all this on, but I never had any money to pay him. He would have cleaned it up in Cook
Yeah.
Street. He's got it all. I can still go back to him if I have the money to pay him. But that's just one man doing a private investigator. He went right over them and he couldn't find anything wrong with it.
Because that's been our problem with the Confederation of Chiefs that John and I have been attached to for a long time. Is just that we don't have any funds.
Yeah, that's been the
Yeah.
problem.
That's our problem.
That's our
If
problem.
we had the funds, we could have freed this planet, really.
Mm,
You know, the problem is that with John and I, you know, if we want people to help us, we got no money to pay them.
that's
you
why.
know? And we can hardly afford to fund our own selves, let alone fund the big kaupapa. It's been a problem.
That's why I set up the share system, and it started to take off with Andrew here, and he was spearheading the share system on the website until it got scammed out and rid me off and shut all my business and everything down. I'm just pulling it up out of the ruins now, and it was all for nothing. They did this to me for nothing. Nobody, and took me in a prison for nothing at all. Just that they didn't like what I was doing, and doing it legitimately. You see, and so we've gone past that stage. Now we just pick up and carry on. We carry on and do things as if it was going properly then. The marshals went under the King of Hawaii jurisdiction, which wasn't the right jurisdiction for us first start.
Yeah.
They were under the United Nations, and that was the wrong jurisdiction to go under. But I just let them go ahead because they said they'll get it. They said confidently, signed the documents there that they would get Cook Street, and I just sat on the road in the car and waited till they got it. Then that would be the end of their contract, and they get paid out of it. So there, that was how it was all set up properly with Gavin Musich, but he was instrumental in taking those marshals in, because I put them under contract to go and do it, and I had every reason to do it. And the police were informed everything I did. I told the police before I went there, I'm going into Cook Street to seize the property because they haven't got the title to prove where they got it from in the first place. See, so even Pukikoe, the title on Pukikoe, that's just got Manukau's and that's Manukau's name right over. That's 1862. That formed the Native Land Act of New Zealand. Just that Refa Manukau's title. That's that one. But we have to go to Edinburgh and Glasgow to get the title that Te Waikato for a Manukau. It's in there. It's in the magistrate court records there. So that's why I went to England to go and get it and to bring it back here and show them this is the title to the whole country. So there, two titles, two paramount chiefs, and the end of it. You see, so we've got plenty of instruments to cover ourselves. All we need to do is to make the right moves with Ngāpuhi, especially from Te Tii Marae. The sooner they know, they're picking it up slowly, but it's because they don't like going kanohi to kanohi on video like this. But that's how business is done in governments all over the world now, is on Zoom. They do it because it's quicker.
Yeah.
It's quicker.
Well, the reason we want to do this this way, Gregory, is because you know, they just burn our pockets going all the way up north and all this and all that, and it's just chaotic. It's chaotic, and they I don't know. Those people seem to create chaos, and what happens? There's never any outcome. There's never any outcome. You know, or you go up there and they call a meetings and they say this is going to be the agenda. You go up there, it's never the agenda. It's just everyone wants to debate against each other and all this and all that. It's just chaos. You know. And they're still in the infancy.
It's still not commercial business.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, that they don't know how to use the land this way and get over the crown and their titles and things and have a right to the land, and they get pushed around and pushed off Te Tii Marae and Waitangi Marae just by the police, because they've got police on their side.
Yeah, because the trustees, you know, they get the police in.
Yeah.
And yet, no, you know, this is something that we're going to sort out. It's just not myself, but others going to sort out, because to put those trustees in their place, they have no jurisdiction authority over the land. Period. Only over the trustees. That's it. They only had jurisdiction over the straw land.
Yeah. So they're just like us, a business. So one business versus another business. That's all it is. To go the person who's the CEO of that business with this CEO of this business and see what happens. See what happens to them if they don't cough up. Yeah. So there, Manahi is here. He's on Zoom. He signed the documents as a JP. You need a JP with a magistrate like myself to sign the documents on Te Unga Waka Marae in Epsom, close to One Tree Hill, when we did One Tree Hill Memorial for Kawharu on top of the hill with Mohi Manukau and the Apotoros, that we went up there and we were told we're not to go up there. And Mohi says, no, we go straight up. And so that's what happened. We went to claim the whole hill back to the Manukau tribesmen in the first place. So that's just another issue where Manahi has signed the documents on Te Tii Marae in a native court hearing. And here we are again. He's been a advocate for this sort of court that would help us to get somewhere against what's happened all these years. It's taken right up to now to do something about it. And so he's doing something as an elder and representative for Ngāpuhi and East Coast, where we're both from, Rangitukia, and where the sun shines first and all that sort of thing. So we're trying to get back on our lands back there. It's a big job. Like, that's what we're fighting for, to get back on the land and doing something. And there. So people are watching us all over the world, and even Canada, watching what we do. We're just being watched on our computers, what we say and do. And so that's why I can't hide anything. I can't do anything in secret because they're watching what I do. And so now we let the whole world know what we do. You see, so there, it's accountability for what's happening here between me and you, and how we execute the job with me and Alfred here, and the Waikato with this title here, and with you up there with the Utatonga title. Those two are paramount in what we do today, going forward for the next generation. Yeah.
So what we're saying is transparency equals credibility equals a seaworthy vessel.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't sink.
Yep.
It shouldn't sink for a long journey from now. Yeah.
Appreciate that, guys. Appreciate that information. It's really helped me just draft up some thinking for recruiting people to go forward and putting their bodies on the line in the most literal sense. So I thank you, Bench.
Yeah, okay. Manahi,
Thank you very much.
I see you there, Manahi. You want to say something, or you're listening very intently there?
Well, just let others who.
Oh, anybody else that want to talk?
Yeah. No point in bringing people in just to ask them to speak.
All right, everybody. Sorry, I'm a bit late. We had our opening of our marae new marae in Kaikohe this morning. Over 1,000 people attended it. So I'm just a bit, still a bit sleepy or slow. Kia ora, everybody.
Thank you, Manahi. Thank you for coming on tonight. Andy?
No, that's it. Is anybody else who wants to? Does anybody else have anything to add?
Good, it's not late.
Yeah, right. I'll go. So,
Just as a thought, John. What about taking them in a money claims court and getting an order?
Can I?
What about taking the claim in a money claims court? You've already got the evidence. You can get the money claims court of them, and so you can sue them for the property, the price of the property.
Yes.
You'd get an order from the money claims court because it'd be default judgment because they can't answer. They've failed to answer everything you've ever claimed. Take it into a money claims court. I mean, you don't even need to take it in for an amount. You can take it in for a small amount. It's immaterial. It's just that then you've got an order in their own system, an order from the court, proving that
I know what they'll do. They'll downgrade it. They'll downgrade it in their court system because they won't allow any high figures and it'll set a precedent. It'll set a precedent for any court hearings after they have that one, and they put the rule on it. They put the amount.
The judge, no, the judge has no jurisdiction over that.
It wasn't necessarily for the money that I'm talking about. It was for the document.
Yeah, that's right. No, it's the idea. Andrew, that's a good idea. You know, no, we can't go worry about judges. Judges can be challenged. You know, what I'm saying, judges only get away with it because people don't have the guts in that to stand up to the judge and don't have the knowledge enough to stand up to the judge and question and challenge the judges.
Well, we've
So we can do that. We can do that. We don't have to worry.
Just as a point, because this, I mean, right now in England, right now, there was a judge who created a false hearing, because as far as I'm concerned, all hearings are false anyway, because there's no public record of them. So we took the judge to court for making false orders, fake orders, and creating a false hearing.
Yeah.
And we sued him, and we sued that judge. Now we've got an order because it was a default judgment because he couldn't provide any evidence. So we went by default, and we got an order against the judge. Yeah. The money was immaterial, but that proved the fact that the whole course hearing that was still going on was created from nothing. So anything made for fraud vitiates all. So that's why we was getting the order, and then it's an order, like I say, with inside their own paperwork, their own.
So what happens is the Attorney General will step in and go right across the whole lot, and he will put his thumb right over the top and dismiss the whole lot.
Then you could take the attorney. Because remember, we're not taking the judge. We're not taking the judge. We're taking the man that's acting as the judge. We're taking the man, and if the Attorney General wants to step in, then we'll take the man acting as the Attorney General on a small claims court. We'll bang him in there.
Yeah, I don't really care about the Attorney General or this or that. What people, the thing is this, that there's separation of powers. There's the judiciary have their responsibility, just as the executive has their duties and functions, just as the legislature has their purpose and function. You know, they all have their purpose and function. You know, we can't assume that a person like Attorney General or a person like someone else and all that, who is actually an agent of the Crown and all that, can actually make the laws or rules to suit themselves, you know, because the purpose and function of any government is to protect and maintain the inherent rights of the people. That is the purpose and function of any government, and the courts are part of the government. So their purpose and function is limited to that jurisdiction, to protect and maintain the inherent rights of the individuals. That is the duty of a judge, of the judiciary. Regardless whether it's the judiciary or the executive or the legislature, their purpose and function is the same, you know, that to protect and maintain the inherent rights of the individuals. Now, if a judge is their purpose and function is to interpret the statute. That's it. They cannot make law from the bench. They're not the legislators, you know, and even the legislators have to adhere to their own bills and their own statutes and their own rules, you know. But the thing is that now we've got to be assertive when we take them on in the courts, and that is, see, like if a judge was misbehaving, I would actually motion that judge for his removal for inability of misbehavior pursuant to tenure of office. And you'll find tenure of office in most of the legislations, you know, and you can remove them under tenure of office. And I've done that. I've removed judges, and they've had to be replaced by another judge. And certainly, you know, our people got not to be scared of judges, attorney general. They're just agents wearing a hat.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all they are.
Just to explain, because I mean, what I've just come across now and what we've just done. I mean, Bar Mutual say that judges are not indemnified because they do not need to be indemnified because they're immune. Now, the point is, they're telling the truth in one aspect because the judge is immune, because judge isn't nothing. It's just an actor. But the man or woman that's acting as, is not immune. And that is why we took them for a money claims court and fined him, sued him for what he had done, the man had done, acting as a judge. Bar Mutual say that they don't need to pay anything out on him because he was a judge and is immune. But he wasn't. He was the man. And he was a man, and he was insured by Bar Mutual as a barrister, but he was acting as a judge. So it's not a claim of whether the judge did anything or not, because we're not interested, because we've just proven by the court the fact that he wasn't acting as a judge, because it wasn't a court. It was a fake hearing that they created a fake order out of. And we sued him for that. And that is a fact. And we've got the order from the money claims court proving that the man was not a judge. The court was not a court, and the order was not an order. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So the man that Bar Mutual therefore was insured as a barrister, which was Miles Kenneth George Watkins, Kenneth Watkins, which is a HHJ judge, meant to be, but the man himself was acting outside of his remit in the private, making little private hearings, working and helping for other people. And that's basically exactly what is happening to every man, woman and child on this planet right now, because none of these courts, there is no record of them. And all you need to do is send in a subject access request to the Ministry of Justice and to the courts, asking them to provide any record of your name and your address, what records they've got. When they haven't got anything, you've got the evidence there. And it's not you making the claim in the court for the money claims. It is you that are providing the evidence that's been substantiated by their own system, by the Ministry of Justice, by the courts themselves, saying that there's no record of it. And if there's no record of something being something, then there isn't nothing there. And if what is there is the fact of its proof, because they rely on the fact that you cannot prove a negative. You can't prove something exists that doesn't exist.
Yep.
So you don't need to. So like an affidavit, you get an affidavit after they've failed to respond, they've agreed by acquiescence. Whereas if you, rather than do an affidavit, take it straight into a money claims court, if they fail, you get a default judgment, and then you get a piece of paper from their own self stating that they are guilty and that they have to pay out. I mean, right now,
I agree with you.
Yeah, there's a warrant right now out on Miles Kenneth George Watkins, aka HHJ Watkins, the judge. Yeah. And he had 12 days before the bailiffs will be going around there to collect him. If they fail, number one, the bailiffs will be in contempt of court. Number two, if they fail, because the fine with the interest added to it went above 5,000, we can bring him into bankruptcy, and we can bankrupt him. Yeah, so this was just another process of what I'm saying, because also now you've got that evidence, we can now sue the police to perform, and if they fail to perform, we can sue those and take them straight into a money claims court exactly the same way.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good idea. I'm in favour of what you're saying, Andrew, and I just say that our people shouldn't be a problem with fear. Our people got to overcome fear, and I agree. Going down that pathway, as you suggest, it's a good idea.
Just to take the fear aspect out of this, guys, because my first and foremost is safety. Okay, that is first and foremost. So my first and foremost safety is, if you're going to make a claim, remember it can be a counterclaim against it. So don't make a claim unless you've got the substantial evidence that can support your claim. Exactly. Now, what I'm saying is, when we took that judge in, it wasn't us that was making that claim. It was the Ministry of Justice, and it was the courts in their subject access request. It was not us that was making it. So if they want to sue themselves for making their own story up, then that's fine by me, because it's not us, guys. It's not us. Let's spin it on them. The veil's lifted, guys. Yoo-hoo. You're not hiding behind there no more. Come on, let's take it, because they're only acting as, we can pull them in and we can sting them with what they do. I mean, it's all about this thing that people believe is money. So let's bankrupt them, because we must make, you know, to remove them is to make them unbondable. None of the judges, what are you going about? No, somebody can work in the public and they don't need public liability because they're immune. Who the hell do they think they really?
No, yeah,
But
yeah,
what
that's
they are
yeah.
telling the truth in one
Yeah.
aspect. They are telling the truth in the aspect if you look at it into the bigger picture, because it's an actor. The same as what people believe to be a government, because it's not a government, it's a corporation. And those people that you think are MPs and politicians and you know, so on and so forth, they're companies. And they're all companies on the limited, they're all private limited companies. So you've got to get through that veil, because he's a man, you know, it's like Boris Johnson. You know, he's Alexander Boris de Frethel Johnson. That's the man. But Boris Johnson is the Boris Johnson Limited, who's on the stock exchange, on the company's house.
Yeah.
So you go for the man and take him into a small claims court and strip him bare of everything he's got, everything that he's stolen. Similar, same thing as what we're doing here. Exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Andrew. I actually feel we should go down that way.
One problem.
Yeah.
The
Well,
Parliament has the sovereignty over the courts. The Parliament and the Inconsistency and Amendments Act, they're using it now before it's even passed. Jacinda Ardern is not worrying about people here in New Zealand, and Boris is following her, and all the WEF are following her under parliamentary sovereignty is higher than the courts. They can stamp on the courts. That's why I'm saying that it's higher than the courts themselves. They've gone and assumed the sovereignty of the Queen, took it away from her, and they're using the Crown's authority of the Queen to wield power over the country, even Britain doing the same thing. The Parliament there, the British Parliament, is using parliamentary sovereignty and the Commonwealth country to go over the people and the courts. They'll legislate the Court Act out with this new inconsistencies and amendments bill from New Zealand. They'll pass that before long. It's still in a second reading, but once they get the third reading and the United Nations Declaration of Independent People, that this government is going to the United Nations to enforce everything from their sovereignty, authority over the Crown, that in New Zealand, at least. But Britain is doing the same thing as well over the courts. They can rule the court out with the Inconsistencies Act. Now, of Ireland, they're using Ireland as a republic here in New Zealand right now. The acts of Ireland, Northern Ireland, as if they're a republic in New Zealand. They're using republican laws here of Australia. I've followed that, I've got documents there stopping them in Australia from using the federal state laws there in New Zealand when they had the Tuhoi raids on the land. Then I stopped Aaron Pascoe right in his tracks from usurping the federal law in Australia. So we use federal law to go right across the government here, and we're going to test them out with this court hearing. And those courts are lower. I would not even step into any one of those courts and take this claim. I would not ever, not as my position on it. I wouldn't entertain for little money and getting money that will set a precedent for the whole, they'll rule the whole cases, any cases after that, under that rule. If you go in that, step in that court, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to go in any court other than our higher court here, right here, to test them out. We're testing them out from here.
I wasn't talking about taking the flag in the small clap. I was purely talking about the man or woman, whoever it is that's doing it. I mean, your claims on Cook Street, let's say, your claims on Cook Street, yeah, because it's an affidavit, your form, they've all ignored it. So you could bring it into the, what I was thinking was if you went through the small claims straight through, it's a 14-day, it's going to be a default judgment they can't answer. So when you're going in with your documents, you've also got a supporting document of a money claims court stamped seal order by a judge in a money claims court as well to add to Just
Yeah,
an
but-
added-
In New Zealand, I wouldn't step in it because it's a fraud court.
Yeah, but I just want to say something about this because the thing is this, that
I'll let you do it, but I won't have anything to
well,
do
yeah,
with it.
well, can I finish what I'm trying to say here? The thing is this, that I don't really care about the legislations that they're trying to make through the parliament. You know, all this talk that about parliamentary sovereignty. Now, the legislature is parliament. They don't have any supremacy over the executive or the judiciary because of the separation of powers in law. What I'm saying is this, that the legislators, which is parliament, they make acts of parliament and all this and all that. But the question is, who do those statutes apply to? They don't apply to the living man. They apply to the corporations. They only have jurisdiction over corporations, you know? And the thing is, the reason why people lose in the courts is because they create joinder to the fiction, you know? And because since a living man is not a corporation, the living man cannot as such appear and plead. And there's case laws on that. I can quote case laws on that because the living sentient accused being, the living sentient being, whether you're the complainant or the other side, has absolute immunity from prosecution in any statutory court. As one as you know, as people are not the corporations.
So that's what I mean, Andy. You've got to be a corporate to fight the corporate, otherwise you lose. If you're not a corporate, we're going as a corporate because they won't talk to you as an ordinary person. You have to be a corporate in order, they won't listen to you because they're bigger. They got the money, they got the guns, they got everything. They're bigger than us and they'll take us out. They'll take us out because we got nothing to go up against them. If we go in a little court, you're going to stay in a little court. If you stay in a big court, you'll go and fight them in a big court, one or the other. You got one choice. You got one choice to go in the little court or stay in the big court safety of the king. One or the other. You can't go into the Queen's Court for a start. That's out of the question. And you've got to fight them this way. I can't see any other way with that flag to fight the big corporates because it's a corporate flag.
Yeah, no,
It's not anything else.
Yeah.
It's a corporate flag. That's the one that's causing all the wars, is that flag.
But
Believe it or not,
yeah.
it's causing all the wars of
yeah.
Admiralty.
Yeah, but the point of about indemnifying, as you said, Andrew, yes, I agree with you on that because all public corporate agents, which are judges and everyone in their system, are required by law to provide we, the public masters, with their name, address, date of birth, and telephone number of their public hazard and malpractice bonding company details, the policy number of the bond, and a copy of the policy describing the bonding coverage of their specific job performance, and that's including a judge. They're not immune. Their failure for them to provide this information forthwith constitutes corporate limited liability insurance fraud and is prima facie evidence and grounds to impose a lien, a commercial lien upon them personally to secure their public oath and service of office, and that's what we need to do. We need to hit them on their bonds.
The King's Bench Court has to operate like a King's Bench Court, not a Queen's Bench Court. Full stop.
But I'm speaking as from the King's Court.
But you're talking Queen's talk in what you're saying, and it's one or the other.
I'm actually holding them liable. I'm actually holding them liable according to their own
It's
corporate law.
it's the prime minister you've got to go for, the parliament themselves, not the judge. The judge has no power when it comes to the government running a country. You have to go to the one that's causing all the problems in the world, is the one running the government.
Oh, yeah.
That one,
Definitely,
that
definitely,
person, not the judge,
Yeah.
because you've got plenty of judges and you'll be
Yeah.
fighting in the court
Yeah.
forever and
Yeah,
a day,
Yeah.
fighting little fights,
Yeah.
not
We gotta-
the big fight.
We got to take on their principle, not the agent. So,
So you need to get that one right. The
Yeah,
people
yeah.
watching this video, don't go lesser than a king.
Yeah.
Don't go lesser than a chief that was with the king.
Yeah.
And they should have been following the king's
Yeah, that's
orders
right.
of this flag
Yeah.
and go above anybody else of vice admiral or lesser
Yeah.
authority.
Yeah.
Now that's the government,
Yeah.
and the prime minister is the prime target area
Yeah.
of her power.
Yeah.
She's wielding a lot of power, and she's getting it from somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's coming from the chiefs that are on that side of the court.
Yeah.
Of how they're running their business, their corporate business, and getting away with it.
That's where she's getting them. That's where she's getting the mandate from. They're getting the mandate from those the Taumata Kaumata and Ngāpuhi and all those fellas up there, those iwi Māori iwi authorities. That's where she's getting the mandate from, and that's what she's using to say. Well, what I'm saying, that's her mitigation. Her mitigation is, wait on, I've been given the authority by some of those chiefs up north.
So that's
where our problem is.
That's where she's giving her authority from to
Yeah.
use that flag
Yeah.
without people knowing
Yeah.
that they're giving over
Yeah.
to go in partnership with a 50-50 deal that the Maori and the iwi will run the resources of the land, and the government will look after the purse strings. That's their deal, 50-50, when they get the New World Order going. Yeah, so there, she's dangerous.
Yeah.
Jacinda Ardern is dangerous
Yeah.
because she's leading all the young people in the World Economic Forum under Klaus Schwab, in their control of everybody in the world through that Jacinda. And that's using the parliament's authority right through the world in their governments. Even the Congress in the United States is doing the same thing with their Congress, government, that they're doing the same thing with this flag. You get to get their right to be on the land from somewhere.
Yeah.
That's it. You start from the land and
Yeah,
take
yeah.
the land from under their
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here. I'm not talking little talk. I'm talking big dollars,
Yeah.
big amounts, not little amounts. They like people who talk about big amounts of money
Yeah.
that threaten their wealth.
Yeah.
They won't look at anything smaller than what they're up against. Us making claims that they stole all that wealth from us, which is right. That's dead right. They stole it with the Admiralty. Yeah, everything. The Pope, even the Pope admits in the Sergei Trust that he's using incorporations, corporates, as his business. Where the hell did he get that from?
Yeah.
You see, he's making claim to St. Patrick because St. Patrick was a Roman at birth, but died as an Irish in his gravesite. He's using that for his claim to the wealth of the 8-point star that's just that Cindy Kiro, the Governor General here, is wearing that 8-point star right in front of her to claim St. Patrick's title to New Zealand and to feather their pockets with that 8-point star. That's why I put a photo with it on it, so you can see in her photo what we're going after her for is that 8-point star and all its wealth, the whole lot of the wealth, everything in that trust.
Yeah.
We're still beneficiaries, like Gregory Cook said.
Yeah.
We're still beneficiaries in an infant state. We still are infants.
Yeah.
We haven't grown up yet to business until now. That's the big world. We take the whole big world on. We got to look beyond, outside the square of where we've got to go. We've got to go and claim the whole lot back, not just a little bit of what they give us. We're not going to accept anything they give us in a court. It's too small for just a few people and not the whole world. This is the whole world, that flag. The whole lot, lock, stock and barrel.
I wasn't talking for that. I mean, I was just basically getting, what I was saying, suggesting was to get an order. So
Yeah.
for us, when they go down, that they've got an order from the court,
Yeah.
their own system as well.
Yeah.
Just add.
Because, you know, like you say, Andrew, I mean, you know, the amount of the order that you win, it makes no difference if it makes no difference if it's $100,000
or 1/10.
as opposed to 100 trillion.
Yeah.
The thing is, once they set a case precedent on an amount, the amount is irrelevant, and we can use it. You know,
The thing is, you'll have a court order. You'll have a court.
So the court will make that order. The judge will make an order that sticks. In that court, it will be what figure he gives as compensation or redress. That's it. You have to accept it. If you don't, you get nothing. That's it. That's just one case. We're taking a whole world case.
Yeah.
Orders. We're doing orders here. That's what all these orders on those writ warrants are for.
Right.
They're orders from us. We make the orders, not the court. Nobody else. No one makes any orders on us.
Yeah.
Full stop. No more. No, we won't accept pittance. We won't accept pittance and let them get away with the rest of it. They'll get away with everything like that. We take the whole lot from them and strip them.
Yep.
We strip the whole lot out of them, one by one. We take one out, we take the lot. That's why we're making examples of them on these photos, on their photos, on these cases. We're making this case stick.
Yeah, total, John.
We're making this case stick. We're an example for the rest of the people watching this video. We're not gonna settle for less. We've been accepting our chiefs here, the iwi Maori, accept less than 1% of what was stolen as acceptable. No way.
Well,
No way.
Actually, they're going after they're accepting 1% of 1%.
Yeah. So that's the problem with our people.
Yeah.
They're not enthusiastic enough to take them on for the whole lot, the whole deal.
Yeah.
And going through the United Nations, that's dirty money. The United Nations is fraud money. It's dirty money. We don't want to go there. We don't want. We got our own with a pound note. We just make our own. We make our own wealth with this pound note. Yeah, we just have to do it. We just have to go and do it. That's what I'm saying to Greg. You got to be brave. You got to be brave. You got to be a true warrior of these days, like the warriors of the old days. They had to fight.
Yeah.
They had to fight arm to arm,
Yeah.
but not now. It's all digital.
Yeah. No, we just gotta be. You gotta be. We just gotta be smart, you know.
Mm.
Because I mean, those generals and all that were smart, strategic, and all. And that's what it is. We just gotta be strategic and smart.
Everything is computer now. It's they can see what we're doing, but we can play their game on digital as well if we keep our documents clean and test them out. We test them out. That's all it is. Again, we have a second go at doing it. This time we get it right. The first time wasn't that crack shot. But there, the documents were right. The documents were right. It's just the execution. That's all.
Yeah.
They just need to get one fall over, and that's it. That's it. The whole thing is over. It's as quick as they can learn, as Gregory and his team can learn how to do the writ warrants. It's all there. Everything's in those documents, and even in this 80 page or this 112 page, everything's there to do any court anywhere in the world. That's why I wanted the whole world to know how to do it, not only us, because they're all in the same boat as us. We're in the same boat, but we're the ones that they're waiting for. We're the ones here in New Zealand they're waiting for. because the key is over here. The missing link is here with that flag. That's it. We just have to own up to the trust. Who owns the trust? Not the New World Order, not the United Nations, not the World Bank. It belongs to us. All of that wealth, the gold, the lot that they're playing around with is still our trust here in Britain. All the immigrants that came from Britain to here, all those people, they have a stake in it. If they only knew what it was, the trust. Like any other trust, we can sack the trustees and put new ones in.
Yeah, good on. Yep.
That's how it works. That's just normal business practice for Gregory Cook and his team. We're just another trust business. That's all it is. And corporate at that, to play the game.
Yeah, good on.
Yeah, so that's to put it mildly. And they can do their own thing on the land once we get past Cook Street. The hapus and what Alfred is saying, we can apply the rule of law any way they like over this lot of mobs in Wellington, what the Australian Aborigines call mob. The mob.
The mob. Mob rule.
The mob. I call them thugs and pirates.
The thug rule. Mob rule.
That's worse than mob.
Yeah. Or mafia rule.
So it's something. It's good that you've done your case like that because you had a winning case with Sun, and that's good. That's good to win a case as a one-off case while we're talking and fighting the battle. That's good. I applaud you for that and for her to battle. And look how long that one's taking. Look how long me and Alfred's been going, over 25 years, and we're still going. just on this lot. And Gregory has been going at it for a long time too, a few years. There's a few more like him, and I hope before long they'll pick this and own it. That's what they got to do. All these people in this country have to own what I'm saying, because I won't be here for long, as long as I leave something behind. And this is what it is. Yeah, the key factors to win a case. Just the laws that'll beat the system. And even President Biden using Lord High Admiral, I call myself Lord High Admiral, to butt him off with this federal flag over him as a non-entity or something wrong with him. A lunatic running ramshod the whole United States and making it worse than what it was before he got his hands on it. That's how they run a system of deep, dark state with Obama. All those people on those photos I put on the website, all those people involved in that scam. I named them and shamed them in front of everybody with their photos there. Put them behind bars and see if that works in this way of doing a court hearing with all their faces and all the information and videos about them. Better than a document from their courts that can change, they can alter it, but not a video. You can't change the video. Live, that is. Yeah, so anybody else want to talk, Andy?
No. Anybody else?
We're good.
Is there anybody else that wants to bring anything forward?
I said enough for this time. Yeah.
Got somebody else coming in, yeah. We'll give it 2 minutes, and if everyone's okay, we'll call this one to a halt then, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'll be getting on to the sheriffs and getting all the documents across to them.
Yeah.
I've sent some today, and it's better because they're too big. The files are too big to email. So the only way was to put them on, for me to put them on the website, and they can download them from there and print them out. But it's better that they just read it off their mobile or their laptop from the website, easier than carrying documents around all the time. And the judges in the court uses laptops and information to talk to each other from lawyers and judges, they use laptops to send an email through or send a document through. So we do the same thing, send a document to the website so everybody can go there.
So I just asked once more, is there anybody else wants to add anything before we round this hearing up?
It saves me sending out invitations all the time. It's very difficult to do them one by one. It
Yeah,
takes too long, and I get tired to pick them up and forget some people, and sometimes, yeah.
Okay then, well, no one's speaking up then, so we'll round this one up then. Now the time now is 12:21, so that will be 9:21. I take it over where you are in New Zealand, and we'll save that till next time then, John.
Yeah, very good.
Okay then, guys. Then, ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, take care now.
Okay, thanks everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye now.
Okay, bye. You finish now.